Hello, good morning to you. You're watching Sewing Street and my name's Debbie and I'm going to be with you for the next 3 hours. So just to give you a bit of a taster, in this hour we have some beautiful Moda fabrics and there's a charm pack, and then we've got more to show you as well. And I'm going to make a tote bag with curvy pockets on the front. I thought we'd do something a little bit different using the H640, which we do have in stock. And now I've said the word, you can go on the website, details down here somewhere, and order now. Well, we've got it if you like. In the second hour we've got lots of tools and we've got some new ones to show you as well. And then in the third hour we're going to do a bit more sewing. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. If you've got any suggestions, let me know, because I've got some Lewis and Irene fabrics and hopefully still some of the H640 fusible fleece left over as well. So if you have any requests, don't make it anything too ambitious, because I've only got an hour and I tend not to get anything finished in the hour anyway. So a little project if you'd like one at 10 o'clock this morning. Go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/. There you go, read it on the screen. And if you go to the visitor post, now that's where I am. We've got two Facebook pages. There's the Sewing Street fans and the Sewing Street. I'm on the Sewing Street on the visitor post, and that's what I can see on my phone there. We were getting some messages yesterday for me on the fans page, and I can't pick that up until after the show. So if you want an answer in the show or you've got requests for 10 o'clock, then please come through to the Sewing Street one. However, on the fans page, that's a group, so you need to join it if you're not in it already. There's thousands of you. Well, hundreds of you. There's a lot. There's a lot. Oh, there is thousands, isn't there? There's over 20,000. So many new people joining every day as well, and it's a really nice community there. So, and a lot of you are going to be sharing your makes, asking questions from other members. But if you're sharing your makes, it'd be lovely to see them, because myself, Debbie, and John and Vix, our three presenters here, choose our favourite picture, our favourite project every week, and you receive free postage off your next order. So it's worth putting a picture on there, because you never know, you might win. Right, it's 8 o'clock in the morning just after, so every morning at 8 we bring you a reduced price item. We call it an early bird, and today I've got a stained glass panel. Look at this. Now, always really popular, these panels. They make beautiful wall hangings and very affordable wall hangings. Imagine how much you would pay for a picture on your wall of that kind of size. But the beauty of these is you could wrap that around a canvas and you've got a lovely picture. You could put some wadding on the back of it and you can quilt into it, so you could maybe stitch around the black lines. You could add trimmings to it if you wanted to. You could add borders to make this even bigger and make it into a quilt as well. It measures 60 by 90 at the moment, but you can add oranges and reds and yellows and golds and pale blues and teals, yellows, any kind of colour of the rainbow, and make this as big as you like. So again, just £8.99 is your price for today only, or while we have the stock, and these do tend to sell out rather quickly. So it's 100% cotton, designed and printed in the UK. It's a great beginner's project as well. There's so much you can do with it. You can embellish it, you can add different kinds of embellishments and trimmings to it. You can quilt it, or you can just have it just as it is. Make a quilt, make a wall hanging. It's actually sewing machine cover size, although half of it's going to be upside down. Maybe that wouldn't work. But you've got a lot of fabric there to do what you like with. Right, so that's your early bird special. No doubt we'll be back again later on. And just to mention as well, if you're new to us, hello. It says on your screen there, 1 P&P all day. And that means that you get your early bird now, you'll pay £3.95 for postage. But then you can come back at any point throughout the day and order whatever you like, from a packet of pins to a sewing machine, anything off the website, anything from the live shows, and we won't charge you any more postage. So it's like you pay your £3.95 now, and it doesn't have to be just for this. Have a look on the website. Anything you order, your first order will be £3.95, and then it's like free P&P for the rest of the day. Even if you order the 720 or the 780 sewing machines, which are so heavy I can't even lift them, no extra postage is going to be charged. You need to place your order before midnight tonight though. Don't come back tomorrow and order a sewing machine and think you're going to get free postage. That's just for one day only. Right. We've got poly wadding. Now this would be ideal to go with your early bird if you want to make a wall hanging. if you're going to make a quilt, a bed quilt or a cot quilt or something like that, not this one. Go for a wool or a natural wadding. This is polyester. A polyester wadding is thick. This is a 2 ounce, so it has a high loft, which means that when you quilt into it, you get some really lovely deep stitches. And at £3.99, it's a lot more affordable than the natural waddings as well. So if you're not going to sleep under it or cuddle up to it, this is a great wadding. It's also nice for bag making. So it's not as firm as a foam. It's about the same firmness actually as your 8640, but 8640 is fusible, so it's a different kettle of fish. Or if you just want to add a little bit of body to even things like cushion covers, I always like to put some padding behind the top of a cushion cover because it makes it feel a little bit more luxurious. So this is perfect for you, and you're getting quite a lot. There's 100 centimetres square, which is that kind of size. So that's probably a good 4 cushion cover pats. Good for, and it's only £3.99. I knew what I wanted to say, my mouth just wouldn't work. Enough to make 4 cushion fronts with that one, I would say. Right, British made as well, and it's washable, and because it's polyester, it's not going to shrink either, so it's really, really useful. So I'll pop that under there because that takes up a lot of space. Let's move on to fabrics. Now this is a mega bundle of beautiful spring toned fabric. It is available by the ½ metre as well. I'll take you through all of these individually with your prices later on. But aren't these fresh and pretty? And oh, I hope the weather's picking up where you are. It was actually sunny this morning when I was coming into it. I'm busy, which is really odd. I'm not used to seeing cars on the road at all, but it was a typical Monday morning this morning. Yeah, even at 5 o'clock, it was really busy. But these kind of, I wish my garden looked like that. Can't get to the garden centre at the moment, so we have hanging baskets full of weeds. And they're quite pretty, but they're not flowers, are they? But I'd love to see this kind of look when I look out of the window. So we've got some beautiful ditzy flowers with very small detailing with the leaves in the background. Then actually a similar design, but larger flowers. Love bundles like this because everything just goes so well. Even that, the colours of the greens are different, but then these greens are the same. So you can put contrasting colours together and they really do work. So the same print there in the corals. Ooh, we had some coral canvas on the show yesterday. It was exactly the same colour as this. Because I would break this up with a plainer colour as well. Even if you're going to add something like a pink. Because I know we do it a lot with bundles, and some of them, when you put them all together, they blend in from one to another. I think the dark grey makes them stand out a little bit more, but just putting a plain in between a few of those makes your print of fabric go a little bit further, and it really kind of brings out the print on these as well. That's a lovely one. Hi, Sue. Sue says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sue. Do you know, I love that colour. It's a very kind of upmarket, isn't it? It's a posh grey, that one. And it does stand out in the rest of the group. But remember, these are available on their own as well. I do like that. I'd have a dress made out of that. That's really pretty. And finally, you've got more of the little ditzy flowers there. So 4½ metres altogether here for your £66.99. And each one of these pieces is ½ metre by 112 centimetres wide, 100% cotton and all Moda. So big brands, say quality. So we also have a layer cake. Pre-cut fabrics, always really popular. We had charm packs on yesterday, they were flying out. Layer cakes are 10-inch squares of fabric. So I'm not going to take these out completely because I'll never get them back in again. But you've got the same prints basically as the ones that we've just been through. So I'll have a quick flick through. So there's the larger prints, the little ditzy ones, that lovely green. How many pieces have we got here all together? 40, oh, that one's different to the big bundle. 42 pieces in total. And, oh gosh, we did have a jelly roll, but that's sold out. So there's the plain greens. That's pretty. Oh, and I love the stripe. So if you go for these, you probably won't need a plain one because there are some quite plain, like these ones in here already. You could make an amazing quilt out of this, couldn't you? Oh, even if you just sewed all of the squares together. Or yesterday morning, I was doing some 1/2 and 1/4 square triangles. You could make some massive 1/2 square triangle blocks. Really easily, you could create a stunning quilt. But not just for quilters. In fact, 4 of these, 2 for the outside, 2 for the lining with a zip across the top, would make a really nice little makeup bag. But you could patchwork them together to make bags, make a tote bag, make a sewing machine cover and mat to match, make chair covers with them. You know, just because they're smaller pieces of fabric than your 1/2 meters doesn't mean they're not as useful. You just need to join them all together. Fingers are aching now. Oh, we've even got a white on white in there. Look. That's a pretty one. And you've got, oh, I love that one. Oh, I love the grey. Oh, aren't they pretty? I'm not going to sit here and go through them. I love that, I love that, I love that. But I just love the colours. I love the greys. That was my favourite one from the big bundle, and that's a bit of cardboard at the back. So 42 of those in total, just for £29.99. So 42. So that's. I'll work out one day how big an area that's going to cover if you make a quilt out of it. But I would imagine quite some size. Maybe in the break I'll get the calculator on my phone and we'll have a look there. Let's have a look at these individually. So first up, we've got the little flowers. Again, it's by the 1/2 metre, and that means that if you wanted a metre, then just order 2 and they'll come joined up together. So if you wanted to make a dress or a blouse, you can order meterage of these, so that'd be really useful, and that would make a really pretty blouse, wouldn't it? Really pretty. This is called Apron Strings Cloud. No idea. I would have called it Ditsy Flowers myself, you know, but Apron Strings on Cloud is what it's called. And it's £7.49 is your price there. I'm going to have a bit of a play because we've got another bundle coming up later on, which wasn't meant to go with this one. But greens would look lovely with that. Actually, you could get away with that. Because I've got some darker colours in there as well, but if you've got a coral, I think that would be absolutely perfect to mix and match with. So £7.49 again for 1/2 metre. I'm trying to keep them in order. This one is called Fresh Picked Strawberries, because when you look at the fabric, doesn't that remind you of freshly picked strawberries? 'Tis neither red nor fruity. It's coral in the background. I'm going to say that those are strawberry flowers. I don't think they are, but you know. Whoever at Moda came up with these names obviously hadn't seen the fabric and just made up names, didn't they? The next one's called Brenda. Again, that's £7.49 for 1/2 metre. Can't wait to see what this one's called. Oh, this is going to be fresh picks. Oh no, fresh. What's wrong with my mouth today? Although it's the same print as Fresh Pricks. It's the same print as the previous. It has a different name completely. This is Fresh Picked Clouds, Rainy Day. Right, okay. Now the range is called Fresh Picked. So the previous one was called Strawberry because of the colour, and this one is called Cloud Rainy Day because it was cloudy and rainy on the day that this came off the printing press, and the designer looked out of the window and saw these beautiful kind of green and white hues with a little bit of sunshine just popping through, and thought, you know, I'm going to call this Cloud Rainy Day because that's my day at the moment. That was almost believable, wasn't it? Okay, fresh pick again. And this one, oh, it's not fresh pick. It's the same print, but this one's called Cloud Fresh fabric. Right, okay. So the designer was looking at this one and thought, oh, that's a bit of a rainy day outside. And then the next day, when the next colours were coming off the printing press, the weather had changed completely. So although it was still a little bit cloudy outside, the air was really fresh. You know what it's like after it's been raining, you go outside and you can smell the grass. And that's what was in the designer's mind when she named this one Canning Days Cloud Fresh fabric. It's nice to have a story, isn't it? Even if they're made up. Can't wait to see what this one's called. Snowy Days or something. Okay. Sorry. This is Jelly Bouquet Cloud. Because as she was looking out of the window and it was really nice and fresh, she thought, do you know what, it's coming up for summertime now, and although it's still a little bit cloudy and cool outside and it's really, really fresh, I don't know, I fancy some jelly. Just as this one was coming off the printing press, which is why she called it, I'm saying she, Jelly Bouquet Cloud fabric. I hope Mrs. Moda isn't watching. Now here, you're looking at those beautiful bouquets again, so I'm giving up on that. And the Sunny Fresh picked on yellow fabric. Is that right? Oh, that's not on yellow, is it? I think that one's on yellow. Mind you, I wouldn't be surprised if that was called on yellow, even though there's no yellow in it, you know? Sunny Fresh picked on yellow fabric is the white with the yellow background. It's a lovely gold as well, that one. It's quite a deep gold. And just to mention, these are all white backgrounds. So if you are thinking about fabric that you have in your stash, maybe as linings and backings and things like that, it is a pure white. It's not an off-white, which is quite nice. Again, that's £7.49 for your half metre, 112 centimetres wide. Right. Do we know this one yet? Or should we go for the grey? Oh, Jelly Bouquet Cloud, this one. So we've got the white in the background. It's the same as the Jelly Bouquet print that you saw previous, but with a white background. And more coral colours in this one. And a lovely kind of pea green leaves. Really dainty. You could fussy cut those as well, couldn't you? Or if you're doing English paper piecing, maybe use a hexagon shape or a diamond shape over each one of those. That would make a nice quilt. And Jelly Bouquet on grey, by any chance? Twilight. Yeah, we're going into nighttime now. I love the colour on that background though. It's a very taupey kind of grey. It's quite a warm grey. It's really pretty, very sophisticated. So these are by the half metre again. So you could dress make with these if you wanted to, and that I just think would make a really lovely dress. First time we brought these to you by the half metre. Goes well with the colour that I'm wearing actually, but that would make a lovely skirt. I think it'd make a really pretty dress, really nice summer dress. And it's nice, I think, to make something if you can, because you know that nobody else is going to be wearing exactly the same as the one that you've made. So that's the Twilight Jelly, and then finally on the coral in the background, this is the Apron Strings Rose fabric this time. At £7.49. Designer obviously put in a pinny on when she was making this one. Thought, oh, my pin is really plain. Wouldn't it be nice if I just had some apron strings made out of this? I'm going with it. So all available individually, but of course all bundled up together. Oh, morning everyone in the studio, says Dawn. Morning to you too. There's only two of us. It's me and Kat today. Right, so again, £66.99 for the complete bundle. That's 4.5 metres altogether. Should we do some sewing in a minute? I'm going to choose one of those. Might choose Might choose 3 of those. And look at this. You will have a complete square metre of H640. We just keep kind of chopping into it, and we don't get sent a new one. So this is what I have. Oh, come on, nobody's going to use that, are they? H640, it's a polyester. It's around about 1/8 of an inch in thickness, and it's fusible from one side. So when you get it home, you'll see little glue dots. These melt onto your fabric and give it a little bit of firmness. I can show you the kind of thing that I make with it. Whoops. So, falling to pieces. This bag, quite a large one, as you can see. It's actually from my Builder Bag books, but I've used H640 as a stabiliser on here. So it means that the bag will stand up on its own, and it's, again, it's quite a large bag, but it's really easy to sew through, and it's soft. So it's not a really stiff interfacing. I find those, the ones that are a little bit like leather, Decaville, that kind of thing, I find them quite difficult to work with personally. I like to work with a foam sometimes as well, but this does give you enough structure for a bag to be able to stand alone, but still have a little bit of softness. And it's perfect for smaller projects as well, like this, because again, it's soft. I wouldn't use a very stiff interfacing or something like a makeup bag, but it does mean it stands alone. It gives it a nice kind of feeling, and it's really easy to sew with. You don't need to trim it back into the seams or anything like that. That's another one, again, all with the H640 in it. No need to trim it into the seams, easy to sew. You don't need a special foot or anything on your sewing machine, and it just gives a more luxurious feel. If I hadn't got H640 behind here, the whole thing would flop. And imagine 2 pieces of fabric together. That's what your bag would be like. So to just, but this is gives it a nice bit of stability, and it's selling really well at the moment. Last time we brought this to you, we sold out of hundreds of them. Multi-order if you like. You can order more than one, so it's not one per customer. They do come individually cut in metre pieces. But you can join them together, just like you would do with wadding if you're quilting. You can butt them up together. You don't even have to sew them because it's fusible. Then you can, in fact, those little pieces probably could use. You can actually join them together as they're fused. So you can make the most of very small pieces of these as well. So that's the H640. But what I find with this one as well, there's lots of different brands of fusible fleeces out there, and they all look pretty much the same. This is one of the few that I find doesn't wrinkle. So some of them, as soon as you put the heat on there, all your fabric starts to gather up, then you're peeling it away. You do have a wiggle time with it. So if you do find a fabric kind of moves or you've got a crease in it, while it's still warm, quickly peel it away from the H640 and smooth it out and then lay it back down again. Once it's adhered and cool, it is a permanent adhesion. If you try and peel it away, the H640 will actually split into 2. Which is fine, if you make a mistake, then you can reposition it slightly. But yeah, it doesn't. I'll show you. It doesn't actually wrinkle very much at all. I'm just going in the cellar to plug my iron in, like so. So, and we have. There's myself and Kat here in the studio. Kat's next door this way, and then Hannah. She's knocking. Hannah is producing at home, and she was saying she loves all the jelly fabric, but now she fancies custard as well. For breakfast, Hannah, it's not even 9 o'clock yet. Okay, so let's get tote friendly. Have we got any more of this? Because I might use all of this for this demo. And I've got another one later on. I need that for 10 o'clock. I'm going to use this one because I love it. So I'll have the front and the back of the bag in that. And then I need a really contrasting pocket. Need it for 10, so we'll be all right. This is the nice thing about, oh no, that's too much. That's the lining then. Nope. It's a nice thing about having the choice of fabric. So if you've gone for the whole bundle, I'm going to go for that one. You can do that. You can mix and match them together and see what you like best. So let's cut our fabric out first of all. So I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one. I thought I got my rotary cutter out. We'll use that one. Okay. So let's chop off the selvages first of all, because we never work with the selvage. Oh, for goodness sake. This is why I bring my own, because nobody changes the blades on these. Oh, that's better. No, it's not. We've got a pot of very well used rotary cutters. I should bring some blades in and we'll get them changed. Okay, I'll use my own. She's such a diva, that Debbie Shaw, demanding blades for a rotary cutter. Okay, so I've got my Facebook on still if anybody wants to message me. I think it's there. We will have this measuring that way. Let's go. We'll go 13 inches across. So you can make bags any size you like. That's the nice thing about making bags, isn't it? You can really make them personal. And then we will cut the bottom straight. A large cutting mat is invaluable as well. If you're a beginner sewer, we've got them coming up in the next hour. But do practice with a rotary cutter, ruler and mat. You will never go back to cutting a straight line with a pair of scissors. It's so quick and it's so accurate. So that was 13 inches across. And I think this will look quite nice to have it 12 inches deep. So almost a square. Right. Then let's get the ironing board. I'm not sure if your H640 is going to come with instructions, so this is what you do. They don't normally, actually. So iron from the fabric side, and your iron needs to be as hot as your fabric will take. So put this in place. I'm just lining up the edges to make the most of the fleece. And then start in the centre and move out. So don't push the fabric too much. You need steam. Don't push the fabric too much because you'll twist it. So just hold it down with the steam. Some of these fleeces don't want steam. This one does. And just keep going until it's adhered. So I like to put my fabric down and just iron it, not right up to the edge because I don't want to get glue on my iron. I'll do another one straight next to it here, and this is just the front and the back. With a bag, I like to put my fleece on the outside pieces, not on the lining, because it's the outside pieces of the bag that you feel. So we'll do that and then we'll cut it out. Only using scissors so that I don't have to put the ironing board away. Normally at home, again, I'd use the rotary cutter, ruler and mat to make a really accurate cut. There we go. And you don't need a separate blade for it. It's only polyester, so it's not like paper that's made from wood that can eventually blunt your blades. There we go. It's actually, if you ever play rock, paper, scissors, the paper should win over scissors, really. Because I know scissors can cut paper, but paper can blunt your scissors. Eventually. I don't worry about tissue paper, so if I'm dressmaking and I'm using a tissue paper pattern, I don't go running for my paper scissors. But I try not to make a habit of cutting through paper. Scissors are expensive. And I'd like them to last a lifetime. Right, so that should be well and truly stuck, just a little bit more around the edge there. Nice and even, and as you can see, there's no wrinkling. Right, so I should put you there. So the difference, you imagine if that was one side of my bag, that would just flop. So that, without H640, you wouldn't have a very good bag. With it, it would stand alone, but it's still really, really soft. That's what I love about it. I'm going to put a pocket on the front. which I could put on the back as well. I could put a zip pocket on the inside, but I'm not going to. So again, let's trim off the selvage. I am making this up as I go, by the way. There is no pattern and no instructions for this. But that's one of the things I like about bag making. It's just figuring things out and having an idea. And it was actually a question somebody sent me, and I will work this out at some point. She sent me a picture of a really lovely bag saying, is this one of yours? And it wasn't. But when I saw it, I thought, oh, now I could do that, but I don't like to copy. I could add this and I could make that a little bit different, and I'm sure I can make a really easy way to make it. So that's where my mind was going with this one. So I'm just using the outside piece as a template to cut out 2 pocket pieces. One of these is going to be a little bit of a waste because it's on the inside. So if I was making this at home, then I would use a plain fabric for one of these pieces. Just cut that square. It's not square. So I have these 2, and these are going to be the pocket on the front, but I want the pocket curved like that. So I'm just going to fold this in half, so I'm cutting through both pieces at the same time. And I might just put a little mark on there, actually, if I can find a pen. There we go. So that's my centre point. So that's actually 3 inches. And let's curve that down to, that'll do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches deep. And I'm cutting through all of those layers. There we go. And that's going to go on the front like that. Well, that's nice. Say so myself. The apron strings on rose, the strings on rose is this one at £7.49. Okay, now I need to do a little bit of sewing, so back down the cellar for the machine. I've chosen this machine because I can't lift the other ones. This is the 560, the Elna 560, so we've got 100 stitches on this one. I'm just going to sew around the curved sections. So just line up the edges. 1/4 inch seam allowance on these. That's not set in stone if you wanted to make it thicker, wider. Don't go any smaller than that though. And just carefully around the curves. And snip. And the second curve, looks like a little apron this, doesn't it? Aptly named. There we go. Had a question about walking feet with H640. No, because maybe I'll make a sewing machine mat at 10 o'clock that I can slide these around in. We do have a sewing machine mat coming up in the next hour, but it's non-slip, which most of you would prefer. But for demonstration purposes, I like slip. No, because the H640 is adhered to the fabric, it's not going to move. Not like with wadding that you may be using in a quilt. Right, let's snip into these curves. This will help the seams sit flatter on curved fabric. Normally on a concave curve like this, you cut little notches out of it, or maybe use pinking shears, but little snips will be fine for now. And then we'll turn it through. I'm not using H640 on this section. Let's turn that through an iron. So just push that out. So I've got a nice curvy curve there. Push that out that way and push that out here. And do this. Has the colour changed on that camera? It is a lovely peachy colour. I wouldn't say it's orange. Maybe it's looking a little bit orange on your screen at the moment, but it's not, it's peach. So again, just pulling out that seam to make sure it sits on the edge. And that one. And then I'm going to top stitch just around the edge of the pockets. I like a bit of top stitching because it gives a professional finish, and that would work. Got it sorted. And it helps to keep the layers of the fabric together as well. So I can lengthen the stitch a little bit. Could use a decorative stitch around here if you wanted to. There. That's more of a true colour apparently that you're seeing on your screen now. And again, just sew around the edge. If you're not very good at sewing in a straight line, or you're concerned about edge stitching like this, if you have a blind hem foot with a guide on it, or a 1/4 of an inch foot with a guide, then use the guide against the edge of the curve, and that'll help you follow the curve in a straight line. Right, away we go. Now, a lot of you are ordering this H640, so you can always watch the demo later on, because we'll have this on YouTube later on. So don't place your order if you want it. We've hopefully got another demo in the 10 o'clock show. Have you let me know what you want yet? Oh, Sue's made, oh, that's nice. With the leftovers from the rainbow panel after making a beige yellow lap cord. That is beautiful, Sue. Love the rick-rack. Have a look on the Facebook page. Have a look at what Sue's been making. Right, now then, this is the pocket that's going to go on the front, so that's going to go here. And now I've got a choice, because I'm tempted to put a dividing stitch right down the centre, so I've got 2 pockets. I think that would be a jolly good idea. So let's fold this in half, and then that's going to go there. And then let's sew straight down the centre. Now, I'd normally pin this, just to make sure I'm not going to go wobbly. And I've still got a longer stitch length on here, because you'll find the more layers of fabric you're sewing through, the smaller your stitch becomes somehow. And I'm just smoothing this out, because this is maybe where a walking foot's going to be handy, because you can see the fabric just being pushed a little bit. So I'm just smoothing it out and keeping it flat as I sew. And what I'm also going to do is to just tack the sides down. Why is that grown? Just to hold that in place. Just so it's not going to flop around when I'm constructing the bag. So that's just within the seam allowance, just to hold that down, so I've got that. Right, I need 2 lining pieces, which I was going to use the plainer one for. And I'll need to make a handle as well. I would have pockets on the inside. Haven't got time to show pockets on the inside. Maybe a nice zipped pocket with one of those letterbox, as I call them, zips would be good on the inside, because you've got plenty of room inside a tote bag. And normally the bigger the bag, the more things you lose inside it. So it's nice to have compartments. I don't in my bag, and it's really annoying. I can lose everything in there. I could literally put the kitchen sink in it, and I wouldn't be able to find it anyway. Okay. Oh gosh, right. H640. We're running out of stock. Gosh. Don't forget to place your order. I think I'll have handles in that one. So again, I need 2 pieces of fabric, and I'm going to cut this 1/2 inch bigger than the outside of the bag, because then when I put it together, I'll have a nice little border at the top. Handles I'm going to make in the apron strings fabric. So is that going to be long enough? Let me have a look. They'll be quite short handles, but that's fine. So I need 2 pieces of fabric cut 4 inches wide. And I'm going to put a piece of H640 in there as well. To give it a nice little bit of cushioning. but I don't want it to be too stiff, because if I'm going to fold this into 4 pieces, so that'll go to the centre and then that'll go to the centre. If I'm working with something like canvas or denim, no need to put anything inside there at all. But if I put H640 over the whole area and then fold it into 4, it'll make a very nice chunky strap, but the fabric tends to crease a little bit as it's folding them. So I'm just going to put a 1-inch strip down the centre. So you can see how far a metre goes, can't you? I probably have got enough for another demo later, depending on what you want. And then another one. If you're cutting a wool or a natural wadding on your mat with a rotary cutter, it can push the fibres into your mat. Whereas with this one, because it's polyester, it doesn't. So you haven't got a dirty board afterwards. So let's take the ironing board back again. Imagine doing that with a heavy machine. Have muscles like Popeye. Okay, so I'm going to fold to the centre. If you're using, I mean, you don't have to use this fabric, obviously, if you've got something of your own. If it's a little bit fine, use your best press to add a little bit of firmness to the bag and help the creases stay in there as well. Don't really need to with this one because it's really nice quality cotton. And cotton creases very, very well, which is what we want. Okay, so that's going to go along here. Now I'm going to press from the wadding side so I can see that it's going exactly along the line down the centre. So just give it a little bit of a press, because it is polyester and it's not meant to have too much direct heat on it. So a nice bit of steam going through there. And I'll just chop that end off, it was a little bit too long. That's so, a bit more on that end. And then the same with this strap. So fold to make a crease in the centre. Going to make a lovely summery bag, this one. And nice kind of size for a craft bag maybe, or for storage. Oh, imagine how many bags you could make if you've gone for that big bundle of fabric as well. And again, if I was doing this at home, I may not use the Moda fabric for the lining. I think I'd choose a plainer one and save my pattern fabric for something a bit more special. So I'm being a little indulgent here. So again, I'm just lining that up against the centre crease. Give it a quick blast, just quickly from this side. It's not really meant to be used from this side. Oh, because it curls up like that. So we'll join that together. So I'm going to chop some off this end, bear with me. And that goes on there. Oh! Put on the wrong side. I have a solution for that little bit that's at the end that just wants to curl up because I'm eyeing it from the wrong side. I'm going to give it a bit of a spray with my 505 spray. Pop that on there and snip. Right, oh, I was so hoping I'd be able to finish this, but might not be able to. So I'll do one of the straps and just show you how that goes. So to the centre, fold over, pop a clip on there if you have them, and large stitch, because you've got lots of layers, and I'll just sew down the one side. You could do rows and rows of stitches along here, if you like, that would look nice. And I'm just folding the edges. It's a bit like bias binding with your piece of H640 in the centre. Over there. And just make sure that lines up. So I'm not pulling that out the back, I'm actually stretching the fabric out because it's starting to warp a little bit. And that'll be sorted out when I've ironed it. So there's my strap. This I'm going to put each side of, shall we go right on, is that too close together? It does look like an apron now, doesn't it? So I'm just going to tack this in. So again, just within the seam allowance, just so I don't need to use pins. Make sure the strap isn't twisted as it comes around to this side. And tack that one in as well. So proper little apron bag, look, with two pockets on the side. So you do the other strap in the same way. And then lining pieces go right sides together. Tell me when to stop if you want me to move on. That's non-directional. Right, we've got 3 minutes. Let's see how far we can go. So this goes to the top of the bag. Oh, shorter stitch. Not that short. And then away we go. So, whoops, to this. The lining's the bouquet one, I think, isn't it? The jelly bouquet. Okay, so you'd make up the other strap in the same way. I'll try and get this finished maybe in the break. And line this up with the front side so you know that you're going to put the handle in exactly the same position like that. Tack that to the top. And then sew the second piece of lining, just like we have done with this one, over the top like that, so across the top. And then put the two sections together. So that's obviously sewn together, that part with that part, and the lining with the lining. Match up the seams at the side, and then you'll sew all the way around, but leave a gap in the base of around about 5 or 6 inches so you can turn it the right side out. When you do turn it the right side out, because we had the lining longer than the outer bag by 1/2 inch, that will actually wrap around the top of the bag and give you a lining border of 1/4 inch across there. And then I'd tip the strap up and top stitch or stitch in the ditch all the way around the top like that. And that is what your bag is going to look like. You could square the base a little bit on that as well if you wanted to by pinching the corners. But you can see how, you know, it's a really useful little bag. It's a little bit different, and it's got that firmness with the H640 as well. If you hadn't got that in there, it would just completely flop. You'd have a very saggy bag. And if you put any kind of weight in it, then you'd find the fabric just hanging off the straps. So it really does keep its shape really well. Could put some embellishments on there as well, maybe a little bow or a fabric flower would look nice, wouldn't it? So hopefully I'll be able to finish that later on, we shall see. Now I've made a right old mess, and you're going to want to look at some more fabrics, aren't you? We'll be back later, little Elna. So let me take you through the fabrics that were in that lovely bundle. I have no idea what order they're in now. Look at what I've done. So, try and regain some degree of neatness here. So shall we start? Well, I know that was the first one that we looked at anyway. So that was your apron strings. All available on the website. So if you're not keeping up with me, have a look on sewingstreet.com. And it'll give you the details of all of the fabrics that we have for you. These are by the 1/2 metre or together in the whole bundle as well. Have a look on the website for 1/2 metre details. So there's that one. Then we've got the bouquet. I think that was the rainy, cloudy day. And that was the strawberry. And the yellow background. And then we've got the coral with the white background. That's the one I use for the bag, which has the grey background. You will get full half meters in this bundle. That was the apron strings in the coral, so that was on rose, done that one. Oh, and then this one, you've got 4.5 meters altogether. I think have I got them all? I think I've got them all together. So this is the first time these have been available by the half meter. But if you wanted to go for the bundle, you'll have all of those half meter pieces for your £66.99, 4.5 meters in total there. But again, have a look on the website. If you just joined us and you think, oh, I like that yellow one, have a look on the website for details of how you can order that on its own. Oh gosh, H640, over 100 of these have sold already. It's so useful, and it's one of those things that I would buy more than one. I mean, to be honest, I buy it by the roll because I use so much of it. Practically any bag that I make, I'm either going to be using my H640 or I'll be using a fusible foam depending on the stiffness that I want. But large bags, small bags, for bag making it's absolutely perfect. But if you wanted to add a little bit of structure or padding behind cushion covers and things like that, if you're making table runners, then this is perfect. You can use it instead of wadding on wall hangings and quilts and things like that. Your quilt wadding doesn't tend to be adhesive. This one is. It is polyester, so it's not going to be breathable, so I wouldn't make a quilt out of this. But if you're making a table runner or things to go over the arms of the chair, then this is absolutely perfect. And as I said previously, this is one of the few fusible fleeces that I've found that doesn't wrinkle. That's so annoying. As soon as you put your iron on, they think, oh, I've got to peel all this off and start again. What did I do wrong? Because we tend to blame ourselves. And I've never had H640 wrinkle on me, which is why it is my fusible fleece of choice, if you like. We've literally been waiting for months to get hold of H640. Then every time we bring it to you, we have hundreds of people on the phones, on the website, and it sells out time and time again. You've got a great price on there as well. And it does come cut in a 1 meter square, but you can see how far that actually goes. There are actually instructions on the selvage somewhere. But you can have a look on the Miscellaneous website, and that'll give you details of how to apply this. But basically, hot iron, fabric side up, and a blast of steam works wonders with it. That doesn't make it wrinkle like it does on other fusible fleeces. The poly wadding, different kettle of fish. This isn't fusible, but it's thicker. So you could make a bag with this. It doesn't stand up, to be honest, as well as your H640, but it's only £3.99. So if you are on a budget, you've got a great price. So you can do similar with it. It's not fusible, but you can use this with your repositionable adhesives. So you can use your 505 spray with that to make it adhesive if you're using it, or if you need it to be. It doesn't have to be, you can just sew it in. But this has a really high loft on it. So your H640 is about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. This is over 1/4 of an inch. I would say it's getting over 1/2 an inch in thickness, so it's a very different feel. And again, it's only £3.99 for a square metre. And it's washable, as is your H640 as well. I wouldn't put it on too high a heat, but they are washable without shrinking, because polyester don't shrink, does it? Which is why it was invented in the first place. Okay. Our early bird panel. This is a little treat for you for taking the trouble, or maybe getting up early anyway. I would do normally, get up at the crack of dawn. Crack of dawn being about 4:30 these days. I like to make the most of the daytime. But anyway, you were up nice and early with us this morning, so we brought you a reduced price item, which is your stained glass fabric panel. So it's only £8.99, and you can quilt it, you can add to it, you could add borders, you could cut into it if you wanted to, you could add trimmings to it. And you can, well, make it into either a quilt or a wall hanging, your choice. 100% cotton, British designed and printed here in the UK. And again, you can order as many of those as you like. Remember, we've got that one postage all day of just £3.95, no matter how much you order. And if you do want to order, it's sewingstreet.com if you go to the website, or you can order on the phone lines number down here, which is 0800 114433, and that's a UK helpline as well. Oh, now we have more fabrics for you, as a matter of fact. These are lovely. So odd, these, and they go together. And we've got some contrasting fabric as well. In this bundle, look at the colours of these, aren't they gorgeous? Very different look to the previous, aren't they? For £81.99, you're getting 5.5 metres. And they are rich, traditional prints, really classy, beautiful colours. Love again the green in the background. Chafakani. I did have a Shaka Khan moment when I was prepping last night. Chafakani, Chafakani. I love these ones as well. Just really stylish, aren't they? Very elegant designs. The red in the background. Lots of colours actually blended together. And the monochromes. Oh, look at this. That's so beautiful. Oh, I had to make curtains out of that. I'd need a little bit more than 1/2 metre, but wouldn't that look lovely? They are available by the 1/2 metre. We're only showing you the bundle today, but have a look on Tote website. That is gorgeous. Are you counting your 5.5 metres? Because if you are, you'd realise there's only 5 there. You do get 5.5 metres. There will be another one in this kind of print, but with more of a red background. So if you have a look on the website again, it'll show you all of the pictures of every single piece that you're getting there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces. Is that right? Yep, 5.5 metres, that's right. It looked like there was one missing, but I suppose there's no other way you can display that, is there? So that is the one that we don't have available here in the studio, but you will receive that one when you place your order. So if you're on the website now, that's all you need to do. It just says Jewellery Maker on the top of your screen when you go to the website. If you're new to us, don't worry, we're sharing their website. They don't even know. We're like cuckoos. But it will say Jewellery Maker on the website. But if you go to sewingstreet.com, it'll take you straight to our homepage on the Jewellery Maker website. So when you add the fabric to your basket, don't be concerned that you're shopping, you're going to get a bracelet instead. You will get your fabric. Because our new website is going to have to be amazing, isn't it? It's taken months. Can't wait to see what they're doing with it. It's such hard work to get this website going. We will have our own website, just like we'll have our own studio one day. Never going to happen. Oh, we talk and we dream about sitting down while we're sewing and having 2 sets. It's all pie in the sky. Yeah, having a kitchen so I can bring in a coffee without having to hide it. I been chasing the coffee for the last couple of days and it was actually upstairs. No idea. No idea. So £81.99, 5.5 metres of those altogether is what you're going to receive. We have a complimentary bundle coming up next. Let's put those to one side. Should have just added those to the bundle, shouldn't we? They all go so well. Oh, sorry. We've got some plain complimentaries as well. There we go. So again, you've got 100% cotton with these. 2.5 metres for £16.99. So we have put them together to go with the Moda bundles, but if you just wanted some very affordable fabric, then this is it. And the quality is really nice. Sometimes when you get more affordable fabrics, you get them home and you think, that's a bit scratchy, it's see-through, I wish I hadn't bothered. But this isn't, it's a really nice quality of cotton. And the colours are just lovely, pastel. Again, summery colours, so there's the pale pink and a minty kind of green, brighter pink, that one's a little bit more lilac-y. That's a really lovely colour. We're calling that can latte, tan. I'm not rapping. And then finally you've got the deep red, which does go perfectly with the bundle as well. all for £16.99. I was thinking a can of coffee for coffee. Right. So we've got beautiful fabrics online. The website, even though we are poaching a little corner on Jewellery Maker, is growing by the day. So if you do need anything else, if you want any tools, if you need a machine or anything like that, then do take a look on sewingstreet.com. Now, just remind yourself, if you wanted to come through on Facebook. Oh, Kirsty's messaged in. Morning, Debbie. Morning, Kirsty. I've bought enough of the red berries on white from the Chaka Khan range to make a vest top. Oh, that would be really nice, wouldn't it? Red berries on white. Which one was that one? Red berries on white. Red berries on white. I'm not sure which one that is. Post a picture when you've made it. I'd love to see. I know we bring you these big bundles of fabric and you automatically think, oh, bundle of fabric quilting. I don't. I tend to think beautiful fabric dressmaking. So I think any of these would make such pretty blouses. The vest top's a nice idea. Could I get... I'd like it a bit longer, to be honest. But I'm a size 12 and I could probably get a vest top out of 1/2 metre of that. And it wouldn't need lining either, I don't think. You could do, but I don't think that would need lining. Nice selvage too. If you needed more, do have a look on the website on sewingstreet.com and you can order by the 1/2 metre. So if you wanted more, you can have what you like. Now these are available just by the 1/2 metre, so they're not a bundle. Pretty. Look at the design on there. It's almost like thorny vines. This is currant pale rose fabric. And that's actually currant as in sultana currant, isn't it? Not on trend at the moment. For £7, I have no idea. No idea. Again, that's £7.49. Where's the currants? Do currant bushes have thorns? I don't think so. See, that when I saw like thorny vines, I was thinking Sleeping Beauty personally. Princess on white chargers. So what fancy name are we calling this one? A really classic design in like a beige colour. Traditional floral rosate rocher. See, when the designer was naming this one, as it was coming off the printing press, she was eating chocolates. And she was, oh, that's a really traditional design. Oh, these are nice chocolates. So she blended the two names together to bring you traditional rosate rocher. Apparently. So this is rosette on red. Oh, sorry, floral rosette red. Very different look, isn't it? This is really quite striking. A bit Tilda-esque, I think, this one as well. And again, £7.49 for 1/2 metre. These are 112 centimetres wide. I love these names. So that's that. This is pretty. Cream backgrounds on these, by the way, if you're mixing with stuff that you've got at home already. That's pretty, isn't it? Pearl Melodic on cream. Really lovely. Are they daffodil? I think they're daffodils. Red daffodils. And tulips. Really pretty. Loads of detail on the leaves there as well. And finally, these aren't bundled, these are all by the 1/2 metre. They do go very well with the previous bundle though, if you were thinking of putting things together. This is the khaki brown. Again, it's £7.49. Nice, again, little prints on that one. I do like a small print. Small prints, if you're dressmaking, are a lot easier to avoid pattern matching for a beginner. And easier to work with than plain fabrics as well, because plain fabrics, if you're dressmaking, you'll see every single dot, you'll see every single seam, so a pattern will disguise those a little bit if you're concerned about wobbly stitches. So they're lovely for dressmaking as well as for quilting or homewares or whatever it is that you're making. So remember, anything that you need to order, have a look on the website on sewingstreet.com. Coming up in the next hour, we've got lots of tools for you. We've got some bag making kits and bags and adhesives, and we've got a tacking gun, which you haven't seen on Sewing Street before, I don't think. So that's going to be a really lovely hour coming up next, I hope. So we're going to take a quick break. Do stay with us if you can. We should be back in about 3 minutes. Hello there, I'm Debbie Shaw, and I would love you to join me on the first Monday of every single month for Sewing Street Surgery. Now, this is a dedicated hour where I answer your questions, and that could be questions about techniques, it could be questions about tools, it could be questions about new products, or maybe something that you've seen that you just don't understand. There's a lot of questions about tensions on sewing machines, and there's a lot of questions about working with different weights of fabrics. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, the easiest way to bring a question over to us is to go to our Facebook page and post your question on there. I will collate all of those questions throughout the week. If we need any new products for you, or if we need any new demonstrations, those will all be worked on leading up to that first Monday of the month. So do join me, Debbie Shaw, on Sewing Street Surgery on the first Monday.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Hello and welcome. We love hearing from you, and we really hope that you can follow us on our social media platforms. We've got Instagram, which is @Sewing Street. We have Facebook. We've got 2 Facebook pages. One is the Sewing Street TV page, and the other one is Sewing Street Fans. All 3 of these are monitored all the time by our wonderful team, and if you want to message us on air, drop us a line on either of those 3 and we'll definitely be able to answer your questions that you may have. If you post on the actual wall, we can perhaps answer there. Otherwise, message us as well. That works really, really well. Thank you so much for being involved, and it's only because of this community that we're able to bring you all these different diverse products and to be able to answer your questions that you may have. Another way you can stay in touch with us is by signing up to our newsletter. These newsletters are sent out to you very regularly, and they include not only our guest profiles of upcoming guests, but also amazing shows that we've got coming up for you. And if you want to look at the amazing products before everybody else, that's the best way to do it. If you'd like to sign up and you haven't already, the link to follow is www.sewingstreet.com/sign up. You won't regret it. Thank you.
Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw, and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck.
Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw from Sewing Street, and these are my 5 top tips for successful sewing. So number one, always use a good quality thread. A good quality thread will keep your seams stronger and also help to prevent lint building up inside your sewing machine. Tip number two, if your project isn't going quite according to plan, put it down, walk away from it, come back again the next day and you'll probably find that things don't seem half as bad as they did. My tip number three, never throw away your sewing machine manual, always keep it to hand because you're going to find hints and tips, techniques and troubleshooting in that manual. You'll miss it if you lose it. My tip number four is to read your pattern instructions before you even cut out your fabric. Different manufacturers of patterns will give you different instructions, different ways of constructing your garments and different seam allowances. So to have a successful garment, you need to follow the instructions precisely. And then tip number five is don't give up. Every professional sewer sewed their first seam. Every professional quilter quilted their first quilt. Every professional quilter sewed their first line of wonky stitches and had to get out the quick unpick. That's no different to you. So I hope you find these useful. If you want more hints and tips, then why not go to Sewing Street on channel 74 on Freeview, on Sky 670, and of course we have a YouTube channel where you can catch up on previous demonstrations. We'll see you soon. Hello there and welcome back to Sewing Street. This hour we're going to be looking at some of the basics that I think you need or you could work really well with, like your adhesives and your glues and your heat and bonds and your tacking guns, and we've got some ideas with books for you as well, along with other things too. Stay with us if you want more sewing demos and fabric, because that's going to be coming up again at 10 o'clock this morning. If you want to get ahead of the game, take a look on our website on sewingstreet.com and you'll see as soon as you go there video, and then underneath the video is a list of everything that we have for you in the next couple of hours that we're here live for you. Right, let's dive in straight away then. Where shall we start with everything that we have here? Our adhesive, this Gutterman glue, I use this so much. It's a wet glue, but it is incredibly strong. It is so strong, in fact, if you're going to be making bags with metal frames or purses with metal frames, the glue holds it in. You get a really strong bond. What I've done with this bag, and with a little purse for that matter, these are sew-in frames, and I find it quite difficult to sew in the frames, to be honest, without seeing the stitches on the inside. You don't see any stitches on the inside of this one because it's not actually sewn through the fabric. With both of these bags, I've put the stitches through the frame first and then glued it in, and that is a really, really strong bond. Same with this one. That again, it's a big bag, it's a heavy bag, and I stitched through the frame first of all, and then it's really strong. With this one particularly, I ran out of frames at one point and I wanted to change the colour of the bag, and I thought, well, it's only glued in, I'll pull it out and reuse the frame. Not going to happen. Really, really strong. But what I also like to use it for is on things like this. So if I'm sewing buttons on anything as embellishments, or if I've got safety eyes, these have already got glue behind them because I've glued that on already. But although those are safety eyes, I don't trust them. So when they're on, just pull the eye back a little bit and put a dot of glue behind it. If you get any excess, wipe it away really quickly because it will stain on your fabric. It's not going to come out again. But you get a really, there's no way those are going to come off. And again, I like to do that with buttons. If you're adding any kind of embellishments to bags, so maybe putting some roses and stuff like that, or any kind of fabric flowers, that's great to glue to the front of a bag. I want to show you as well. Let's do a little bit of a test. If you're upholstering and you want to put some trim around over your staples when you're covering a chair or a... Can I open this one? I've got one that's open, is that all right? Now it's quite runny, so as soon as you finish using it, then put the lid on, because otherwise it'll run out and run out and run out, and then you'll have to stick a pin in it. So as soon as you start using it, you'll see you've got a blob on the end. So wipe that off. With the bag frames, I left it to go a little bit tacky before I put the frame in because I didn't want it to run too much. So this is some trimming that I would use for upholstery projects. And I'm sticking that to a nice heavyweight fabric, which is the denim. You'll get a purchase straight away, so that's not going to fall off. But at the moment, it's still movable. But I want to leave that on there, maybe till the end of the show. And then we'll see how strong that adhesion is. So give it a good old press down. And that should stay there. There we go. So again, you'll find it really useful. I will use it on bag straps. So things like here, where the fabric goes through your clasp and then it's folded over and stitched. I glue that before I stitch it. Don't glue where you're going to sew because this is solid, so you're going to find it difficult to sew through. But as that's folded over, I'll put a little bit of glue, I'll hold that with my wonder clips, and then when it's dry, then sew across the top. And that means that that's a really, really strong bond. I think the glue is going to be as strong, if not stronger, than the seam that you put across there. So that's another way I use this so often, honestly. It will last quite a long while as long as you keep that lid on. If you leave the lid off, it tends to go a little bit gloopy, and then you're going to have a problem getting it out again and sticking pins in and that kind of thing. So take care of your tube, and that's going to last you for a long, long time. It's only £5.99. That is a really, really good price. So for any kind of embellishment, if you're bag making, you've got to have some of this in your sewing toolbox. If you're upholstering, absolutely perfect. If you're adding embellishments, maybe it's little beads and sequins and things like that. This is the glue that I would recommend that you use all the time. Don't put it on your cutting mat, or if you do, wipe it up straight away. I'd suggest you stick it on a mat like this, because it does dry so solid that I've actually damaged a rotary cutter blade going over it before now. So make sure, don't do it on your mat, don't spoil your mat with that. And multi-order if you like, a great price, it's not going to go off. So stock up while we have the stock in stock. Now the mat that I just showed you, this is the applique mat. I've been messing it up deliberately because it says on the box that you can use it with a glue gun. So I brought my glue gun in just to prove that you can use it with a glue gun. And we'll see what happens there when that's dry. I'm just unplugging. Glue guns don't come with switches, do they? Whoops. So, and they tend to dribble. So even though, you know, you've got your little stand there and everything, when you've stopped using them, just like with your tube of glue, you get a little bit of dribble of glue coming out the end. And that, again, when it's on your mat, can be a real devil to get it off anywhere. And if you have, if you have a scrap piece of paper, then I know I put my glue gun down on the scrap piece of paper, and I've done that a lot. And then you get paper stuck to your glue gun. I've got bits of thread in there, look. And it just doesn't come off because glue guns are really, really strong glue. So, so you end up with like a montage, like a decoupage of paper all over your glue gun. This is a Teflon mat. So although we're calling it an applique mat, it's more than just an applique mat. It's going to be your crafting non-stick mat. And I've still got the iron on down here. As it's Teflon, it's heat resistant. So let's just to prove my iron is on, you can put a really hot iron over that, which is why we're calling it an applique mat, because you can use this to help to protect the surface you're ironing on. I wouldn't suggest you iron on a tabletop still, but it'll protect your surface when you are maybe using your heat and bond on smaller ironing pieces. It will also prevent anything gluey getting on your iron. Or if it does get onto your iron, it's not going to transfer back again onto your ironing board. So it's a nice little mat, that one, and it's only like a piece of fabric, so it's easy to store as well. So I'm trying not to iron the glue. Is that dry yet? Look at that! Look at that! That's the glue from a glue gun. Oh, you could not do that with your mat, could you? Look, it's just coming away. Amazing. That won't be dry yet. We'll come back to the HT2 later on. Oh, I love that. Making such a mess. First time we saw this was yesterday. Just £6.99. You can see just how useful it's going to be. So popular yesterday, we brought it back by popular demand. So it helps to protect your iron, helps to prevent glue. There's always going to be a case, isn't there? Let's have a go with a little bit of this. I love shows like this. I can just make a mess and clean up, and it's easy. So this is Heat and Bond, which is sticky on the side that goes on your fabric. I'm going to iron it straight onto here. So I'm thinking, oh dear, oh look, oh sticky gluey mess. Now imagine that if that was on the bottom of your iron. I'm going to leave that to dry and then see if that'll come off as well. Oh, it's coming up, oh look. Oh, look at this, look. Can you see that? It's just coming off. Look. See, if that was stuck to your ironing board, you'd never get it off, would you? Oh, I love that. I'm so glad that worked. But I'm thinking, you know, when you've got your piece of applique, let's get a piece of applique. Applique. I haven't got any. So we'll have a piece of fabric like this was a piece of applique. So I'll just cut a little heart shape out of there. And then normally you'd put your Heat and Bond on the back beforehand, wouldn't you? But I'm not going to. I'm going to put it straight on top of there, like that. That's normally such a no-no, isn't it? Then we're going to have another one. This is a real scientific experiment. This is not ad hoc in any shape, way or form. This is very, very well rehearsed. So I'll have another piece of that. I'm not going to iron onto the board because it might ruin it. And let's pretend that this is my ironing board cover. So that's ironed onto the Teflon. This one I'm going to iron onto a piece of cotton, just like it was an ironing board cover. And again, you wouldn't do this normally because you would try very hard not to get glue on your ironing board. So here, let's take this one off first because that one's cool. So look, I've got glue all over the board. Ew. So that's stuck on there, and I only wanted it on here. But this will just scratch off. But hardly any of it's stuck, to be honest, this time. But if this was my ironing board, oh, that's made a bit of a mess, hasn't it? That is going to be a nightmare to try and, in fact, it's not going to come off. These tiny little bits are just not going to come off the fabric. I'm going to need tweezers to try and pick it off. But you'll do that on your ironing board. It may be a tiny little bit like that. And then when you come back to iron your shirts, you're going to get that glue transferred onto the bottom of your iron. Then it turns all black, and then the black goes on to the next thing that you're going to iron. I think we've all done that at some point. We've all got a little bit of glue. That could be from your H640 or your Heat and Bond. But if that was my ironing board now, I might even go and buy myself a new ironing board cover rather than pick all of that off. But on our sheet, our applique and more sheet, it barely stuck. So put that on top of your ironing board. The HT2 glue should be dry now. Oh, look. It's not quite dry, but you can see it's just peeling away. A quarter of the stock of the Gutterman glue is sold out now. If that was on, in fact, it's on my fingers now, that is now going to cough, that will go black. If that was on my board, I have before now taken a knife to try and scrape it off because it just won't come off. When that's dry, it's just going to peel away from here really easily. So put it underneath anything that you're gluing. Never thought I'd get so excited about a sheet like that. But there you go. But these are the kind of things that just make life so much easier. I'll be back for you. Right, the Bonder web. This is a really big tube of Bonder web. I've already put it on the heart, as you've seen here. It has an adhesive side on one side and a paper side on the other. So the idea would be that you fuse this to your fabric before you cut out your applique shape. And you can use a hot iron. You can use it from the back or the front. I tend to use mine from the back because I find my fabric doesn't wrinkle so much. And it's transparent so you can see where you're going. The easiest way to get the backing off is just give it a scratch and then peel the paper away when it's cool. And you can feel, whoops. You can actually feel the glue on the back. It leaves like a rubbery finish on the back of your fabric. Like a magic trick. So that's not sticky at the moment. You can see it shiny, I think, a little bit. But when that's now ironed onto my fabric, it makes a permanent bond. So this is, it's a great medium for larger pieces of applique to stop them kind of crumpling up as you're sewing around them. But if you're doing a raw edge applique and you just want to put a straight stitch around the edge, it'll help prevent the fraying around the edge, and it's all washable. It's not going to wash out at all. £23.99, you've got 5 metres of that in total. So the whole roll for you. So that's an awful lot of applique. Rather have too much than too little. But I think you'll find that really useful, particularly for applique, for adding one piece of fabric to another and make that permanent non-fray bond. I think it would fray eventually. If you're going to put this onto a garment that goes in the wash quite a lot, it may start to fray slightly around the edge. I don't mind that look, to be honest. But if it's something like cushion covers that don't go in the wash quite so often, or bag making certainly, then you've got a really good, firm, permanent bond with your heat and bond. Oh, H640, I'm going to give you a reminder here. We had hundreds of you on the phones and the website in the previous hour for this. So this is what I use for bag making. There are 2 things I use for bag making. I will use a Bosal single-sided fusible foam if I want a really firm bag. If I want a softer bag or a more affordable way of putting a stabiliser onto the back of my fabric, I will use Valaiseline H640, which is this one. So it is a polyester wadding with glue dots on the one side that melt onto your fabric when used with a hot iron and steam, and it gives your bag a little bit of firmness, but it's still soft enough to sew through. So I'll just show you again a large bag like this one. It stands upon its own, but it's still squashy. So it's easy to sew. With a lot of firmer interfacings and stabilisers, you'll need to trim it back right up to the seam, because when you sew the seam, it'll want to fight back and bounce open. But this doesn't. You can quite easily top stitch through all of the layers of this as well. It's washable because it's a polyester, so it's not going to shrink, but it just gives your bag a little bit of firmness and stability. It's perfect for smaller bags as well. That can be quite difficult if you're making even smaller than this, if you're making little card holders and such like that you need to turn inside out. Heavier stabilisers can be quite difficult to turn on small pieces, but this is absolutely perfect and it's really easy. And you're getting a square metre of that in total, which will last a really long time. There we go. So I didn't realise actually in one of my books, I can't remember which one it was. There was a book cover in there, and it was my shopping, my diary basically, my little sewing book that I make notes in, and I'd put on there apparently lunch with Kim and buy H640, I don't need to buy it too often because I buy so much of it because I use it so much. It doesn't, for me, I've never had it wrinkle, and I've put it on the back of fabric. A lot of the time with these kind of things, there are some brands particularly, I'm not going to name names, but I would avoid like the plague, because as soon as you put your iron on, you forget whether you're supposed to use steam or not because you haven't got the instructions. So you give it a blast of steam and your fabric goes whoo, and all wrinkles up, and it's nigh impossible to get them out again. I don't find that this one does. Now, just over half of the stock has sold out. These are made with H640. So again, firm enough to stand up, but soft enough to sew through. So that's inside there. And my little satchel here, that's made with H640. So again, firm enough to keep its shape, but really soft, easy to sew through. Even putting bias binding on there, hand sewing through it isn't a problem at all. If you have one of my sewing machine panels, then that already comes with your H640, but that's what I'd use to make a sewing machine panel. It would make a very substantial sewing machine mat. Did we have any requests for anything for 10 o'clock? Morning, Angie. Oh, Kirsty's using the currant on white to make a vest. Still want to see pictures, Kirsty. I'm on the Sewing Street TV page, not the fans page. I don't know if there's any comments gone on fans, but I'm not on fans. I'm on Sewing Street visitor posts. And I was going to do a demo in the 10 o'clock show using H640, and I just wondered if there's anything particular you want to see. If there isn't, I'm going to make a sewing machine mat, because the only sewing machine mat that we have in the studio is non-slip, and it works. And I like a slip when I'm demonstrating, so I can slide my machine. You know what's going to happen now, don't you? I wouldn't be surprised if this sells out really quickly. Something else, adhesives, like a bit of glue. So you would think that I'd put the whole show together myself, because these, oh, I love that, I love that, I love that, love this, love that, love these. So 404 spray. This is quite confusing. There are many, many more sprays from Odif that are available. We've got 404, 505, 606, 707, 202, grippy sprays. What are they all about? Well, 404 is a repositionable spray adhesive. No, so is 505. But this one is for paper to anything that you want to stick it to. And it doesn't wash out. 505 will wash out. This doesn't. So the best place for you to use this is to spray the back of patterns, paper patterns, and hold them down while you cut them out. It doesn't transfer onto your fabric. If you're quilting and you're using, I don't know, a long arm quilter, and you've got a paper pattern that you want to trace over, or you're free motion embroidering, you want to sew over a pattern, then this is the one that you're going to use to hold the pattern in place. Then you can tear that pattern away, and it's not going to leave any residue on your fabric whatsoever. It's really a remarkable fabric, textile glue. Now then, I've got some instructions for a Bargello quilt. Can I put those so that I can see them at all times? I'm going to stick it there. That's actually card or paper coated. It doesn't damage. So this will hold, wouldn't have been in trouble if I spoilt that, I don't think we've got another one. This will hold instructions to walls, posters, pictures, any kind of paper, photographs. It's repositionable. It's not going to stain your wallpaper. It's not going to stain your walls. So if you're using the blue tacky stuff, you'll sometimes find, and this is particularly relevant if you're living in rented accommodation, you want to move, and you take all the kids' posters down off the wall and you see greasy dots everywhere, and then when you try and paint over them, the greasy dots still come through again. So you can put posters on walls with this, and it will stay there for about 8 months without having to respray. That will stay tacky, and again, it's not going to do any damage. So as a dressmaker, maybe you've cut out all of your pattern pieces. I have a tailor's dummy, which I usually use to pin the pieces, so I know that that's the front and that's the back and that's the, you know, whichever they are. But you could easily put your pattern pieces on a wall. So again, you can identify exactly what you've got there. Even though some patterns are so big, aren't they? and maybe your table isn't. So you open up these tissue paper patterns, which somehow fold into a packet this big, and when you open them, they're like this big. Flatten it out all over a wall, and then you can identify which pattern pieces there are without it falling off the table and trying to mark them in that way. So that's 404, that's what that's for. Then we have 505. 505 is a repositionable fabric adhesive. So you can use this with applique. So very much like your heat and bond, but heat and bond is permanent. This is temporary. It will wash out. It will eventually lose its tackiness. But it means that you can move your applique pieces around. So if you put something here and you think, no, I want it there, simply peel it off. It doesn't leave any residue again. These are all acid-free as well, by the way. And you can move your piece around really, really easily. I used this in the first hour to stick down a piece of wadding that just would not stick down. So if you have wadding that you would like to be fusible, but it isn't, you can temporarily fuse. I mean, even in your quilting, you can spray together your quilt sandwich, no matter what size it is, smooth it all out and then sew, and you don't have to worry about removing pins or tacks, and eventually this will disappear as well. So you're not going to have the adhesive in your quilt forever. It'll wash away immediately, or eventually it will start to lose its stickiness and tackiness. Use that, and I use that so much that I buy huge cans. If I could buy huge cans with a pump on the side, I'd probably go for one of those as well. That's only £7.99. And then when we're talking about tacking, maybe you prefer to, but not by hand, it takes ages. This is your micro-stitch tool. And it's basically a gun with tiny, tiny tacks that can hold not so thick layers of your quilt sandwich together, to be honest. But for hemming, this is perfect. If you're turning up a pair of curtains, then use your tacks before you sew. You probably won't even have to take them out, to be honest. But it's quicker than pins. They say flatter than pins, and it's actually a little bit of fun. So let's open this up and have a look. Do you know what I'd use it for as well? So you can do your hemming, you can do your tacking with it. What ideas do they have? Oh, for garments, for hem drapes. So that's your curtains. That's their ideas. For adding embellishments to craft items, you could easily use. But for pairing things together, like your socks when they go in the wash. I know that sounds silly, but how many times do you put your socks into the wash in pairs and then they all come out singularly? I tend to buy black socks for my son and my husband, so it doesn't, and they're all the same, so it doesn't matter if they swap over there. They're always going to have a matching pair. But literally, spike them together before they go in the washing machine, and you're never going to lose them again. That sounds very silly, but it works. So this is it. This is a very sharp spike, and it does come with a guard, so make sure you use it. The little tacks simply go into the top here. There's like a tubular bit on one side, and that slips into the hole, and push that right down. And then you're going to push the spike through your fabric. So I've got 3 layers here, so that could be my quilt sandwich. Push it through, pull it out, and there's that tiny little tack that's gone through all layers. So imagine if you had a big quilt, careful you don't spike your fingers, because it's very sharp. If you had a really big quilt, that's as quick as it's going to take. And then to take them out, they will break. So if you're hemming, you can snap them quite easily. But they've got like a little T shape on the top of them. So if I was using these in a quilt, I'd just snip those off. And so that's an awful lot easier than using your bent safety pins, certainly than hand tacking. And it is actually quite enjoyable to do it. If I'm hemming, you do get different colours of tacks in there as well, by the way. So there are, these are them. You've got your black and white. So you should have something that stands out against most fabric colours. So if I was hemming a pair of curtains, maybe in this type of fabric, I'd use a black. So again, let's take this one out, just pulls out. That one goes in. So now I can fold my fabric up. I wouldn't use this as anything permanent, but you know, if you're if you're walking out the door and you suddenly catch your heel in your hem, then that's going to hold it temporarily until you can get back to the sewing machine again. See how quick that is. And although they're tiny tacks, you can see they've gone all the way through. Even on that quilt sandwich that I just had, it does go all the way through, and they do hold really, really well. And again, if you want to, you can just snap them because they're very fine to take them out again. Useful tool, isn't it? I love that one. Had mine for years. Make sure you put this back on the point there. So it comes with all of those tacks, which is going to last you for an awfully long time. But we've got refills for you as well. So the refills are in black. And we've got some new point. I didn't know they did those actually. I might have to get some of those because I've had mine for such a long time now. Those are refills in black. They're £4.99 and there are 1,200 in there altogether. It took me ages to count them. Then if you wanted to go for the new spikes, there's 4 of those. What's that one for? Oh, it's just got a cover over the point. There was one that looked a little bit different. It's not, they're all the same. Had a cover on it. So I mean, I've had my micro stitch for, oh gosh, about 10 years now. I didn't even know you could get refill blades. And I think mine might have gone a little bit blunt. So if you wanted to get hold of your micro needles now, while we have them, at least you know when yours goes a little bit blunt, then you've got these all ready to go. Love that, that's loads of fun. Let's move back to quilting. And these are very stylish hanging tools, hanging blocks for your quilt. So they're going to, you'll be able to hang your quilt on your wall without damaging it in any which way. A couple of screws in the back there so they just slot on. But inside here is a marble. And when you put your quilt inside, so let's put that, I know it's not a proper quilt, but that goes in there like that. And then the marble comes down and holds the fabric. So that's not going to come out. So I've not put any holes in there at all. I'm not pinning, I'm not tacking. And that's a really good strong hold. And it looks really nice as well. It's a great way to display. And then to take it out, you're just going to push that marble back out of the way and your quilt would just come out with not even, well, barely an indentation there, so you're not going to spoil it at all. And you have the 2 of them, so you can hang them up from each side. So maybe you're making the wall hanging that we had for you as your early bird earlier on, or you have similar at home and you don't want to put the bar across the top, you haven't got anywhere to hang it, then that I think is a lovely way of displaying your wall hangings, or of course your quilts, and just keep them out of the way and nice and safe without damaging them. And there's a £10.99 for the 2, and they're a really nice quality polished wood as well. They look like beech wood to me. You can paint them if you wanted to, but I think they look very nice as they are. Right. We have a little sewing bag. Oh, is that glue coming off it? I love that sheet. It's only a Teflon sheet, but I'm so in love with it. Or I say, how sassy are we with this one? Sewing box, but a rather stylish hobby gift leopard print. In here, you have a little pin cushion and a pocket in the top, but then a removable tray and a really nice deep box. So it doesn't just have to be for sewing. You could keep makeup in here, it may be your nail varnishes and things like that. There's a little pin cushion on the top if you choose to use it, and then you've got your elasticated pocket there as well. So it could be a jewellery box, maybe you're a jewellery maker, and you can keep all of your beads and findings in there, but it's a really useful size of box as well, but it looks really stylish. Did we had the little scissor keeper in the matching fabric as well? Have a look on the website if you wanted to add a few more bits and bobs from the same kind of look from the same set. That's only £16.99. It's all nicely padded as well, so it's a really lovely quality. But that I think would make a really stunning gift for anybody who is a sewer, or not for that matter. Be nice to actually fill it, wouldn't it, and give the whole thing as a gift. Got lots of new sewers coming along at the moment. Oh, now over here, something else you find really useful is a bag for your sewing machine. This will easily fit an average size domestic sewing machine. So like the little 560 that I have at the moment, if you've got a huge machine like the 720 or the 780, it's going to be a squeeze to get it in here. But your average size of sewing machine, this is going to be perfect. And it zips open all the way down, so it's easy to get your machine in and out. And it's really, really strong. I like on my sewing machine bags to have a separate pocket because I don't like anything on my that comes to my sewing machine to scratch it. So if you have, you know, like your plug and your foot pedal, I like to keep them separate. But you can keep your patterns in there. Plenty of room around this one actually as well. So I could fit fabric, I could fit patterns in there. I like to keep my scissors separate as well. So scissors, anything sharp goes in the pocket at the front. £12.99 is such a good price for this bag. You know, if you have a look around, you can easily pay £30 for a sewing machine bag. Nice strong webbing handles as well, and those go all the way around the bottom. So you've got the lift all the way around, and you can just about see there we've got feet on the bottom as well. So that helps to keep the bottom of the bag clean when you put it down. That's a really nice bag for £12.99, isn't it? And you know, even if you're not going anywhere or taking your sewing machine anywhere, a lot of sewing machines come with those really flimsy plastic covers that aren't worth anything and certainly don't keep the dust away. So this is a great way of storing your sewing machine to keep it dust free, particularly if it's not something that you're going to use every day. So that goes like that, and that gives you comfort as well. So we don't all have the luxury of a dedicated sewing area in the house, so if your machine is something that comes out and goes away every time you use it, it's nice to have nice looking but really practical storage for your sewing machine as well. I wouldn't even make a sewing machine bag when this is £12.99. Never thought I'd say that. We have, I mentioned earlier on, the slip reduction mat, which is this one. It's nice and padded, so it helps to reduce noise, helps to reduce vibration from your sewing machine, and helps to stop it moving around your table. And it works. I tend not to use this when I'm in the studio because I like my sewing machine to slip around the table when I'm moving things out of the way. But this will prevent that. So the main thing for me with a mat is that it's got to be bouncy. It's got to be nice and squishy because that helps to protect my table, and it helps to reduce the vibration when you're sewing as well. And if you reduce the vibration on your sewing machine, you reduce the noise on your sewing machine as well. You know, if you put something plastic and heavy on top of something glass or wood, it's going to have a really noisy vibration. So put a really decent mat underneath there and it'll cut down on the noise. So you're not going to get people watching TV in the next room complaining. £15.99 your price there, and when you're not using it, it rolls up like a little yoga mat. So again, it's easy to store. And because I don't know what kind of material this is, it's wipe clean. It feels quite rubbery, quite silicone-y. 40 by 60 centimetres, so you can fit a really decent sized machine on here as well. Why not one for your overlocker too? Overlockers tend to vibrate so much, they come with suction pads on the bottom to stop them moving around your table. But of course, this is going to help in the same kind of way. And it's bigger. So that's £15.99. The final Adhesive spray is the grippy spray, and I can show you how that works as well. So this one's for rulers. This is to make your acrylic and plastic rulers non-slip. I did have a template to show you how this works. But you know what it's like, you put things down. I'll tell you what we can do, because I've got some Creative Grid rulers. Creative Grid rulers, if you have a collection of these, you don't need your grippy spray. I've no idea what I've done with that. But just to show you, if this were a regular ruler that doesn't have the grippy bits on the back, it would be the same as putting a Creative Grids ruler down with the grippy bits up. So it moves around. So if you're using a rotary cutter, you may be a little bit concerned about things slipping, either because you're going to get a wobbly cut line, or your fingers might get in the way. So that, as you can see, just spins round and is not very grippy at all. When you put your grippy spray on here, you don't need very much. It'll go not even tacky. You can't see it, you can't feel it. But it helps, well, it helps to stop, look at that. It helps to stop it moving around. Nothing transfers onto your fabric, and it's the strangest thing because it doesn't feel tacky at all. You would not know that there's any kind of spray on there whatsoever. It's not rough, just trying to catch the light there to see if you can see any residue. You can't. You don't feel anything at all, and that will stay there. That will stay there until you use something like, I don't know, methyl spirits or a glue remover to take it away. But that just makes any of your acrylic templates, any of your plastic templates, if you have any of my Build a Bag books, which is one of the templates that I seem to have lost. Oh, there we go. These are templates that you put down on your fabric, draw around and cut out. So again, just a little spray of this on the back, and that will stop it from moving. So now I can draw around here without it slipping, so I know I get a more accurate pattern from it. I wonder, shouldn't work on this, should it? Ooh, so if you wanted to hold your applique mat, your Teflon mat, onto your ironing board, that stops it slipping a bit. Oh, there you go. Have a play with it. You're getting loads of spray in there for £6.99. Acid free. So it's not, again, going to transfer onto your fabric, and it's not going to damage your fabric at all as well. Just really, I mean, they also have very different purposes, don't they? But these are all really useful sprays to have in your workshop, in your sewing room. This is, sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards with this. I just got rather excited. This is the HT2 glue on the applique mat. Next time I'll bring an old cutting mat in and do the same on a cutting mat, and it won't come off. You'll need a really sharp blade to scrape it off because that's such a strong glue. But look how that's just come away. Oh, okay. Back to the script. We have a fat quarter pack and a fat quarter book. Rainbow colours. Look at these. So, oh, apparently there's a whole rainbow show here the other day. We're not finished with rainbows yet, are we? But, you know, this isn't just a rainbow set. It is a pack of very useful blending colours. So pink and purple, teal, turquoise, green, gold, orange and pale pink. All for £12.99. You get a pack of 8. That's how they're going to come to you. So use them all together. Use them to blend with other printed fabrics that you have already. A fat quarter, if you want aware of the size, is 1/4 metre, but cut into a squarish. So in inches, they're normally 18 inches by 22 or thereabouts. All 100% cotton, nice quality again, for £12.99. But useful to have. And at those kind of prices, so 8 of those for £12.99, if you're teaching the kids to sew, this is nice fabric, because if you do waste it, you're not wasting too much. And it's nice to work with bright colours as well, isn't it? Now, if you get your fat quarters, or you've got fat quarters at home and you think, oh, I don't know what to do with those. Wendy Gardner has written actually a whole series of fat quarter books, Take 2 Fat Quarters. You don't have to use fat quarters with these, but they're 2 small pieces of fabric to make very achievable projects. So let's just have a flick through of some of Wendy's ideas. I told you that glue wouldn't come off my finger. I need Teflon fingers, don't I? Teflon gloves maybe. So these are the projects. We've got everything from coasters to slippers, little storage units, lots of techniques for you to learn in here as well, an explanation of what a fat quarter is, and then your materials, tools and terminology. And these are things that you'll find really useful. Oh, making buttonholes. Oh. Little tips on patchwork and quilting, applique. Adding trims. Oh, I need to look at that trim on the denim, see if it's stuck yet. And then these are the projects. So things that you'll find useful. As a beginner sewer, I'd always advise that you make something that you're going to find useful, something that you can gift, something that you can be proud of, but not something that's going to be put away at the back of a drawer, something that's going to be there with you all the time. And I think that encourages, oh, I love these fabric bowls, so easy to do. You can make jugs and all kinds of things out of them. Somewhere to stand your phone, make a bigger one to stand your tablet. Pair of slippers. And there are patterns in the back where you need them as well. Storage is always a nice project to start with. If you are, storage is nice anyway, but as a beginner sewer. The kind of things that don't have darts and zips and fastening, she says, looking at zips. But things that don't really matter if they don't fit. You know, I would never, as a beginner sewer, start with something that's couture. So we've got bottle holders. And then in the back, you've got a whole set of patterns in there as well. So that one is Take 2 Fat Quarters Home. So all of the ideas that Wendy brings you are for around the home. And that is just £9.99. So if you're stuck for inspiration and ideas, then have a look on the website actually. There's a whole book section there. So let's have a look at this trim. This should be dry now. This is the HT2 glue. And this is the kind of trimming that I would use on upholstery. So if I'm covering a chair or a stool and using a staple gun to go around the bottom, I'd put this over the staples. This has been on here for about 40 minutes. Oh gosh, if I really pull hard, that will start to come away. I would ideally leave that for an hour or so. It's a good workout. But yep, that is well and truly stuck on. I can't even peel the edge of that back. That'll keep the kids quiet for hours, won't it? Just, what can I do? See if you can peel that off there. No, that's the really strong bond that you get with the HT2 glue. That's why I'd use it for bag making, for putting into frames. That's why I use it to put, even if I've sewn a button onto something that's an embellishment or a decoration or an eye on a toy, I would put that behind it just to make sure that it's not going to come off. That is a really, really strong bond. Oh, now we've got some Quilt-as-you-go bags as well. Quilt-as-you-go is great for a beginner. This is like sewing by numbers, literally, because the Wadding has the guidelines printed onto it already. So you'll cut these, you'll cut 2-inch strips for these, and you can create patchwork bags like those. They're really big as well, actually. I'll show you in just a sec. In fact, I'll show you now. How useful is that going to be when we eventually get to go away for the weekend or going to the gym? We're giving you a panel. So this is, I'll show you what's left as well. This is the size of the panel you're going to get. You've got 16 2.5-inch strips. You won't use all of those. There's going to be loads left over. And each one of those strips is 55 inches long. So that's huge. And this is what's left over. Cara Akerman actually made, oh no, that's another bag. Made 2 out of that. She's got all of these bits left over. Loads of it, look. So If you'd like to see a demonstration for this one, have a look on our YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, in the search bar at the top, put in Sewing Street, then it'll come up with lots of things, but you'll see the Sewing Street icon in a circle. If you click on that, go to videos, and then scroll down, because they'll all be in date order, and go to the 27th of April. And on there'll be all 3 shows all kind of bunched together, but one of those shows will have a video of Cara Aikman actually making up this bag, so you get an idea of the way that Quilt-as-you-go works. Not only do you get those 16 strips, there's also your lining fabric, you'll have some of that left over as well, and you've got your bag handle reinforcement in there as well. So all of that for £39.99. So plenty enough to make a little purse to match, or drawstring bags, or, and oh, that's big. Anything you like. So that's the plum option. We also have a different colourway for you, which is this one, which makes this one. So slightly different design with this one. Is that a different design? Oh no, sorry, same one. And this one has a gold coloured lining, but aren't the colours lovely on this one? The plum's nice, but I love this one. And mustard and teals, they're just so popular as colours at the moment. Now, you can go to town with these a little bit as well. If you wanted to do some, well, no need to stitch in the ditch, because these are actually stitch lines where it's been quilted, but you could do a little bit of echo quilting. If you have decorative stitches on your sewing machine, you could add some of those if you wish. You could quilt in this direction as well to make it look like you've cross-hatched it. So you can make these very personal, but I love the size of the bag. I just think that's a really useful size with nice long handles as well. And again, you've got all of the directions printed, or all of the positions printed and numbered. So it's literally painting by numbers with fabric. And that again is £39.99. Oh, I love these hours. There's lots of stuff to talk about. Right, we've only got a few things left to show you. Like, for instance, our wonder clips. Now, I mentioned wonder clips in the previous hour. For holding, for holding bag straps together before you sew it. For thicker fabrics, for lots of layers of fabrics, for binding around the edge of your quilt, and for fabrics that you can't pin or not advised to pin, like laminated fabrics or faux leather fabrics. They're flat on the one side, so that goes on the bottom. If you're putting these on something like bias binding, then it's not going to squish it flat. But that just means that as your fabric is going into the sewing machine, if it was that both ways, then it'd be a big lump under there. But you can keep that nice and flat and then just flick these out as you go. I like to use Clover wonder clips. I know there's lots of different brands out there. The Gutter ones are very good, that you get free with threads sometimes, but Clover invented these, and the quality is amazing. I've been using Clover wonder clips since they only did red ones before they had lots of colours, for maybe 15 years, and I've still got the same ones. Lots of different sizes, and I've added to them as well. I keep them in a, I've got a plant pot, which is like a big cup and saucer, and it's full. And they're quite handy. I've got my little sewing box down here, and I leave them clipped around the edge as well, just so that they're always there. But something that's going to last you for a long, 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 long time, and you're going to find really, really useful as well. And it's only £7.99. Are we there yet? This is a Fiskars circular cutter. I've got some fabric there. So what we're going to do with this is the fabric from the last hour, the Moda fabric, which is a little bit wasteful really. Can you see that on there all right? Okay, it's got grooves in it. And there is a marking across here, which is halfway through the circle and halfway through the circle that way. So this is what you're going to line up with the edge of your fabric, and we're going to cut out semicircles. Or if you have your fabric on a fold, have I got a fabric on a fold? That one's on a fold. I'll be able to cut out a full circle with this. So let's line this up to the edge. So again, this is on the folded edge, so I can be very precise as to where that line's going to go. I've got a line here, it says fabric fold line, or a half circle seam allowance. So if I'm cutting out a semicircle, I'd move that up to the white line here. And that gives me a 1/4 inch seam allowance. There we go. It's got the grippy bits on here as well, so you don't need your spray for this one. So simply hold this down and you're getting this little contraption, which has a blade inside. It's got a little rotary blade inside there. So it's safe because you can't feel it until you actually depress it. There's 2 little grooves here, which sit into the groove of whatever it is, whatever size you want to make. So I've gone 8 inches here. It's actually marked 8 inches. I'm going to be picking glue off my fingers for days, aren't I? And you start cutting off the edge. So you're getting a really accurate cut. So slip it in, press it down, hold it down, and slide it round. Ready? Oh, didn't press quite hard enough. Oh no. I'm entirely going to blame that on completely at the wrong angle for cutting. And things always go wrong in life. But look, you've got an absolutely perfect circle. What better way? And the sizes go from 2 inch all the way to 12 inches. I was going to write a book once on patternless projects, because at the time, for circles, I'd be going through the crockery drawer, because I've got egg cups and saucers, then bowls, then plates of lots of different sizes, all the way up to a dustbin lid. But there's never the one that you want for the perfect size, is there? So my side plates tend to be just a little bit over 8 inches, so you'd have to trim them down. And the big plates are just under 12 inches, so you'd have to make them bigger. So it's nice to have something that is accurate, and you know, let's measure it, that is going to be exactly 8 inches across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. And again, all the way up to 12 inches in size. And again, that's safe. And Fiskars know what they're doing when it comes to cutting products, don't they? That's what they're famed for, with their little orange handles. The mat that I've been cutting on here, I've never stayed tidy. I have to start and stop sewing in a tidy sewing room, and I hate all this mess everywhere. And I haven't got time to tidy up. That can go down there. So if I clear away the mess that I have made, you'll get an idea of the size of this cutting mat. I'd always recommend the biggest cutting mat for the room that you have, with a 24-inch ruler, and then at least a 45 millimetre rotary cutter as well. The markings are, you've got centimetres on one side and inches on the other, so I tend to use inches, so that's what you're looking at here. You've got your centre mark here, which is great if you're squaring things up, and then 2 45-degree angles. You've got 2 60-degree angles and 2 of the 30-degree angles. So if you're cutting bias binding, you've got a really nice space to cut it. Now this is 22 inches in width, but there's a little bit extra there. So if you're cutting fabric off the bolt, you'll find that a bolt of fabric is normally 44 inches wide, and it comes to you folded. So you can just lay this all the way across the mat and cut. If you've got wider fabric, you lay it across this way, because in this direction you have a 34-inch mat, and you've got right down to 1/8 of an inch increments on here as well. So as I'm cutting, and I'll show you how brilliant this is. That's a bit of scrap with poppers on it from the demonstration the other day. But I can go, see, that's off the bolt. Would have been 22 inches wide before I cut into it. So I've got plenty of room there. But if I want to cut something on the bias, I would line my fabric up with the mat. So I'm looking at the measurements on the mat to square this off, not the measurements on the ruler, and cut. So So I've got a nice neat edge here. Then I've got the 45-degree line there, which I can just about see at the top of the board over here as well. So I know I can cut straight across here, and I've got a perfect 45-degree line. If I'm making diamonds or triangles, then I'll probably be using the 60-degree lines on there as well. But it just means you get a really nice big long cut without having to move your mat or fold your fabric into little pieces to cut it. And £37.99 is a really good price. If you've got the room for it, then go for it. You won't go wrong with that. Okay, so that's kind of been an hour of things that I like in my sewing room. This could well be my sewing room with all of the things that we have in here. We've got more fabrics coming up in the next hour, and I'm going to make a sewing machine mat. So I'll see you again in a couple of minutes.
Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw, and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck.
Hello there, I'm Debbie Shaw, and I would love you to join me on the first Monday of every single month for Sewing Street Surgery. Now, this is a dedicated hour where I answer your questions, and that could be questions about techniques, it could be questions about tools, it could be questions about new products, or maybe something that you've seen that you just don't understand. There's a lot of questions about tensions on sewing machines, and there's a lot of questions about working with different weights of fabrics. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask me, the easiest way to bring a question over to us is to go to our Facebook page and post your question on there. I will collate all of those questions throughout the week. If we need any new products for you, or if we need any new demonstrations, those will all be worked on leading up to that first Monday of the month. So do join me, Debbie Shaw, on Sewing Street Surgery on the first Monday.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part, and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Hello and welcome. We love hearing from you, and we really hope that you can follow us on our social media platforms. We've got Instagram, which is @SewingStreet. We have Facebook. We've got two Facebook pages. One is the Sewing Street TV page, and the other one is Sewing Street Fans. All three of these are monitored all the time by our wonderful team, and if you want to message us on air, drop us a line on either of those three and we'll definitely be able to answer your questions that you may have. If you post on the actual wall, we can perhaps answer there. Otherwise, message us as well. That works really, really well. Thank you so much for being involved, and it's only because of this community that we're able to bring you all these different diverse products and to be able to answer your questions that you may have. Another way you can stay in touch with us is by signing up to our newsletter. These newsletters are sent out to you very regularly, and they include not only our guest profiles of upcoming guests, but also amazing shows that we've got coming up for you. And if you want to look at the amazing products before everybody else, that's the best way to do it. If you'd like to sign up and you haven't already, the link to follow is www.sewingstreet.com/sign up. You won't regret it. Thank you.
Hi there, welcome back again to Sewing Street. This is the final hour of the live shows. We are here for another couple of hours showing repeats as well, so we've still got some more sewing coming up for you. Right, we've got fabrics, we have books, we have a couple of messages as well. So morning to... Oh, I haven't got a name on there. Morning, Debbie. I love the new Sewing Street. Been watching for a short while and really need to get my sewing mojo back after an awful emergency surgery last August. I hope you're okay now. And if you need a little bit of inspiration, hopefully we're going to bring you some of that as well. And oh, that was Angie. Thank you, Angie. I hope you're okay. And then Tina says, Debbie, you are very funny. I don't think it's funny at all. Sewing is a very serious business in my eyes. Right, I'm on visitor posts on Facebook on the Sewing Street site if you want to send any more messages this morning. I'd like to know what you're up to. Right, let's take a look at some books first of all. When Angie, Sewing Inspiration to help bring back your mojo. These are 3 for the price of 2 of Love to Sew books. Love to Sew books by Search Press are a range of books that bring you very simple projects with very simple instructions. So these are ideal if you just want to dip your toe in the water, have a go at sewing something, you don't know where to start, if you're learning how to sew, or if like Angie, you've lost your mojo, you just don't know what to do. I have days like that myself, don't know what to sew today. So how about making hanging hearts? These are really simple, they never go out of fashion. And you can see what I mean about the simplicity of the instructions in here as well. Really easy to follow. And a lot of content in here too. Who would have thought you could make so many different styles of hanging hearts? So materials and equipment, basic techniques, and then all of the different styles. You could put some potpourri or lavender or maybe rose petals or something inside some of these to make them fragrant. You can add your own twists, your own designs. Start making decorations for Christmas. Why not? Get it all out of the way now, and then when lockdown's finally over and can all leave the house, don't have to worry come later on in the year about Christmas decorations or presents. So lots of different styles. Look at that one on the jug, really pretty. Lots of different styles, sizes, and do we have templates in the back of this one? Let me double check, I'm sure we do. Those are your templates in the back as well. So this is vintage style gifts for the home. So again, simple to follow. Oh, more hearts, look. There's all of your projects, lots of those. And it's not all about hearts. Look, we've got pin cushions. I think the vintage look is the type of fabric that's been used. So if you love the projects but you don't want them to look vintage, you could use very modern fabrics as well and completely change the looks. So we've got designs for the home, a little bit of patchwork in there as well. Cushion covers. Got your mojo back, Ange. Pin cushions. Lots and lots of ideas. Altogether, throughout the 3 books, you've got over 50 different projects. So that's vintage style gifts for the home. Then you have your Legom style accessories. Is this the Debbie Von GC? Yeah. Debbie Von Grabler Crozier. Love her work. An explanation as to what Legom actually is. It's kind of a Swedish lifestyle. And again, there's your techniques and all of your projects. A horse dangler. Love the names. Bit of bunting, simply explained, simple projects. And again, you're getting one of these books for absolutely free. Notebook covers, tea cozies. So again, all of those, there's patterns in the back of that one as well. You don't usually get patterns. So all of those for £15.98. You buy 2, you get 1 free. Same with the second option. This is a 3 for 2. So Quilting on the Move, which I think is one of Alistair's most recent books. We've got Quick and Easy Patchwork and Mug Rugs. So let's take a quick look at Quilting on the Move first of all. Ooh. So that flying out, literally. I love the way you have kind of your introduction and things, list of materials and things that you're going to need and things that you want. and then techniques, and then projects. So small quilting, you know, if you're interested in patchwork and quilting and you're a little bit daunted by patchwork quilts, this is a good way to start. This is the kind of thing that's going to get you hooked. What do you think, Angie? What you're going to be tempted to make? And then, of course, you can use these skills to make up larger items as well. Quick and easy patchwork. So a similar kind of vein, maybe something to get you started. Just to tempt you, just to dip your toe in the water and say, oh, I don't know if I'd enjoy doing it or not. Quick and easy projects for you to make. Or maybe you've got the big quilt on the go, but you just fancied making something smaller, something that you can complete in a day. How about mug rugs? And not just a mug rug, you're going to learn techniques that you can use to make blocks maybe with these. So again, it's different stitching techniques that you're going to, oh, I like those ones, not seen that one before. Very modern. I love the monkeys. So applique techniques in here as well. Nice little gift ideas. And all three of those for £15.98. I need to give you a reminder of the applique mat. I am so impressed with this £6.99 Teflon sheet. In the previous hour, I put hot glue from a hot glue gun all over it. It peeled away. I've drizzled my HT2 glutamine glue on it and it peeled away. I can't even get it off my hands, but it just peeled away from this Teflon sheet. I ironed it with a hot steam iron. It didn't even melt. I melted heat and bond onto it and it just picked away. I then melted it onto fabric and it's still on there. I can't get the stuff off. So this is a really useful sheet to help to protect your ironing board from getting all glued up if you're using things like heat and bond for applique, but protect your work surface if you're gluing as well, particularly if you're using a hot glue gun, because again, it just picked away. I tend to find with my HD2 glue, if it gets onto my cutting mat, I cannot get it off. And when you hit it with a rotary cutter, it can damage the rotary cutter. But just a simple Teflon sheet like this, underneath the area that you're gluing, it's just going to protect whatever surface it is that it's on. And it's only £6.99. Try it. It's such an impressive piece. It looks like a piece of greaseproof paper. It feels like a laminated fabric. It's completely reusable. I think you'll try it. I think you'll be as impressed as I am. I never thought I would be on TV getting excited about something like this, but love it. Let's take a look at this big pile of fabrics that we have for you from Lewis and Irene. Big brand name again, so you're getting quality. All available individually by the half metre. You're out the way. So to give you an idea of the size, 112 centimetres by 50 centimetres is what we're looking at. And it's only £5.99. As it's by the half metre, if you wanted to order more, they come in one piece. And I'm looking at this thinking curtains for a child's bedroom. I'm thinking cushion covers, maybe book covers, drawstring bags to keep your laundry in at the back of the door. Isn't that fun? Isn't that so bright and colourful and gorgeous? You can cut out all of those individual pieces and make smaller pieces of applique with them. So you could use these as embellishments and highlights on other projects as well. So this is whatever the weather for £5.99. That is such a low price. So there's sunshine, there's rain, there's clouds, there's snowflakes. It really is whatever the weather on that one. Got a different colour for you. So that was the dark, this is the light. Again at £5.99. Oh look, you've got the wind, there's the snowflakes, there's the rain, the sunshine. Look at the colours on those as well. Every colour of the rainbow. Who would have thought that rain would look so good? Mind you, my garden at the moment is very grateful for the rain. That again is £5.99. Such a good price, isn't it? Lewis and Irene fabrics. Oh, Britannia metallic gold. So this is a foiled fabric. And it's covered in crowns, non-directional, so it doesn't matter which way around you use it, it will always be the right way round. And it's got just a little bit of a sheen to it, a little bit of a shimmer, but really classy, traditional, at £5.99. Next up, we've got Union Jack heart. I like this one. If you don't want to wait for me, then have a look on the website. They're all listed there on sewingstreet.com. I love the colour of this one. It's like a very deep indigo, almost like a denim colour, with the little hearts with Union Jacks. Again, it's non-directional. Cut those out individually and cover buttons with them. Would look amazing. That's an awful lot of buttons. And again, it's £5.99. So it's kind of Union Jacks without being in your face Union Jacks, if you know what I mean. It's kind of Union Jacks, not Union Jacks. Oh, this one. I've gone right back to the 1960s with this one. If I was older, I would have gone back before then, because this, I think, is very 1950s inspired by the shape of the chairs, and they're so retro. And we've got a poodle and doodle. Where's the poodle? I can only see cats. Or are the cats called Poodle and Doodle? That's probably more like it. But lovely colours on there as well. Maybe, oh yes, my daughter made a cat doorstop with some of the, can't remember what fabric it was, Henry Glass, wasn't it? Riley Blake it was, so it's like a doorstop but in the shape of a cat. That would be nice fabric. Or maybe you're making things for your cat. A cat bed, maybe. I have three, I've got 3 cats, they're all old, 2 of them are 20 and one of them is 16, so they're all a bit noisy and yeah, yeah, very creaky. One of them sleeps all day. She's very old. She's one of the 20 years old. I don't think she's much longer for this earth. I hope my son's not watching. He was really upset when I said that. So we're really looking after her. And at the moment, she has a really nice padded cushion underneath my sewing table. She chose to sleep there. They've got the whole of the house, but she chose to sleep under my sewing table. And then we've got the Tom who adopted us. He likes to sleep in the window, so he's got a little quilt in the windowsill. And then Ollie, my other cat who's 20, a black and white fluffy thing with 3 legs, is just really silly. She sleeps in cupboards. She's slept in the tumble dryer. She's one of these cats, if you go to the bottom of the garden, she'll be there, but then when you go back and you open a cupboard, she'll be there. She'll be on a shelf. She's just, I think I must have 10 cats, really. So she has beds all over the place, but she doesn't sleep in them. She'd rather be in a drawer somewhere. Crazy cats. But these, yeah, they tend to find the warmest, most comfy spot, don't they? The spot where they really shouldn't be. I've got a cupboard where I store all of my samples, and she's in there. She's in a box, so I don't know how she does it. And she sleeps with her face down like that. It's quite bizarre. So that's cats. Love them. We've got the big cats as well. This is Tiger. Quite stylised though, isn't it? You kind of have to look twice to see that there's tigers on there. It's really unusual. And I love the colours on there as well. The colours are really, really rich. And you've got a different colour. So this has got the coral in the background. But we're calling it red. But you really have to look to see the tigers, don't you? Such a clever design. It looks tropical almost to me. Do you want to have a look? Again, just to show you the size and how it looks. So from a distance, you don't even see the tigers. It's just a really lovely retro style of print with gorgeous colours in it. But you have to really look closely to see that those tigers are dancing around the leaves. Really clever design. Bright and bold. Oh, we've got another colour. Very different in the different colours, isn't it? You could make a lovely quilt actually with all 3 of those together. I'd put that one in the middle, just to break it up a little bit to make the other 2 stand out. But this is the one that we're looking at the moment. So we've got white tigers here. Again, at £5.99. So that's Tiger on white. Oh, this is pretty. We've got sycamore, little sycamore seeds. They're sycamore, aren't they? The ones that are like helicopters. And we've got ferns there, so it does have a very wintry kind of look. But I love the way that the design gives you these diamond shapes from a distance. And again, that's £5.99. So a very, very pale grey background on that one. But you can see when I open this one up, the way that the pattern creates those diamond shapes. I like the blue on this one. It's like an Air Force blue. I think if I was going to choose a colour to mix that with, I'd go for a blue one for that, personally. Again at £5.99. You could be using this for dressmaking, for quilting, for bag making, for homewares. If you needed a heavier fabric, so it's quilting cotton, then put your H640 or some interfacing behind it. This is a really pretty colour. So same design, same print, but this time you've got an icy blue background, and you can see the little white dots. They look like snowflakes in the background. They really stand out on this one. And the ferns this time are in the blue. So it really does look quite wintry, this one, doesn't it? I want to get you winter fabric now for projects that you're going to make later on in the year. At £5.99 for Lewis and Irene, then why not? So from winter to, summertime in the beach. We've got crabs and hermit crabs and starfish, and can't remember what they're called. They're those things that kind of stick to rocks, aren't they? Oh, what are they called? You never get them off. When I was that's reminds me of like rock pools when we used to go to the beach, and the tide goes out and there's a rock there, and you get a pool of water all around it. Me and my sister used to put a bucket on one side of it, kind of tiptoe to one side, and walk round from the opposite direction, and everything in that little pool ended up in the bucket. It was great fun. Oh, let me know what they're called, because that's really going to bug me now. So £5.99 again. Beach bags, drawstring bags, swim bags. Maybe something for the bathroom. Right, and then I don't think I've seen a leopard print. Hannah, who's producing, would like to use a leopard print on a lampshade. Hannah, leopards have got spots. Tigers have stripes. maybe the message just came through wrong. A lampshade. Oh, she did say tiger. Because Hannah is producing and working from home. I can't hear Hannah. I can hear Kat, who's in the room next door. So Hannah gets in touch with Kat. I think she's WhatsApping her or something. And then Kat passes the message on to me. So Chinese whispers have changed a stripy tiger into a spotty leopard. Limpets, that's it. That's what they are. I'm having a conversation and you've no idea who I'm talking to. Lampshades would be very nice in that. And limpets, thank you very much. Now I want to know what these ones are, because I can't remember that one either. These ones. It's like a nature lesson here today, isn't it? I have never seen fabric with sandcastles on before. Oh, that takes me back. Buckets in the shape of sandcastles and flags in the top, making moats around them. Deck chairs, a dad with a hanky on his head. Quite soft, this one as well, because you've got the gold in the background and the yellow sandcastles. Non-directional fabric again. That would make a really nice beach bag, wouldn't it? And if you wanted to mix this, maybe just use this as a pocket on the front of a bag. Then you've got the bright blues, you've got reds, you've got greens, so lots of colours to mix and match with. Or maybe sea urchins, that's the one, thank you. Hannah knows all the animals. So, on the blue background. Actually, the two go together really nicely as well. So you could make a bag out of that with a lining in this one. Would look nice. And that again is £5.99. Going to move on to hedgehogs. Look, I love the ones that are curled up with their little feet poking out. Look at him. So this is on an off-white background, almost a beige kind of colour on the background. That's only £4.99. I'm not questioning prices. I have nothing to do with prices. I just read what's on the screen. But £4.99 is a very affordable price for loose Irene fabric. Little girls' dresses, little boys' shirts and shorts, little vests maybe, matching bags, little purses. Oh, or how about a grown-up shirt? Why not have a blouse or a shirt with hedgehogs all over it? These are by the half metre, so if you needed to order more, then they will come to you in one long piece. Got a different colour option for you as well, the grey. Oh, we've got a couple, I like this one. It's almost a lilac-y kind of grey. So same print, but just with the deeper colour on the background. And then we do have a lilac background. Lavender we're calling this one. And again, that's £4.99. Don't question the price, just buy it. Just check out your basket. They can't do anything about it. When somebody comes back and says, that should be £5.99, too late. Dragonflies. This is quite a subtle fabric. This is probably something that you could use as a blender. Or if I'm using a lining in a bag, or in a jacket for that matter, I like to use something with a small print on it, something that's quite subtle. I think it adds more interest than just a plain fabric. So Sunset Dragonfly. It's only £4.99 again. That is a really, that is the kind of price you'd pay for a lining fabric, isn't it? Just a plain lining fabric. And that's a useful colour as well. Non-directional, you can use that any way around you like. So you can really make the most of the fabric. These are useful fabrics as well for the same reasons, maybe for lining, for blending with other fabrics. It's like a ticking stripe. So this is in the mint. So darling. This reminds me of a Tilda kind of look as well. You can imagine, when you think about a Tilda room on the shots that she does in her books, and everything's lovely and white and gorgeous furniture, and she has something hanging over the back of the chair and on the back of the door. These, I think, would make lovely homewares. And it's not ticking. A genuine ticking has a woven stripe through it, and originally would have been used on mattresses. The kind of thing that you see with tea towels, that kind of thing. But this is a printed cotton, so it has the softness. I wouldn't use ticking fabric to wear. It'd be a little bit too heavy and scratchy. But when you've got a ticking print, you could easily make a blouse out of that. Or a skirt, a denim skirt style of dress. So nice and straight, pockets on the front, patch pockets on the back, welted seams down the side. That would make a nice look, and not as heavy as denim. Got a pink option too. But again, they make nice blenders. So if you have a fabric with a little bit of pink in it that you want to make go a little bit further, how about stretching it out with a more affordable fabric, just again £4.99. We're moving on to wizards. Maybe you're a fan, maybe you're thinking ahead to Halloween. Tiny little wizards, and they've got stars with sparklers on their wands. This is actually, it's called dark grey. It is incredibly dark. It's almost black. Not quite a black, but very, very dark grey for £4.99. And by contrast, we've got the light grey as well. So again, the two together go really, really well if you wanted to make something with a matching lining or a contrast pocket. And that's £4.99 again. And those are by the half metre. So just to reiterate, if you wanted a metre, then order 2 and we'll send you 1 metre piece, and so on and so forth. No, you're not very good at your messages this morning. I've only had half a dozen or so. If you want to, I'm here on Facebook. So go to the Sewing Street Facebook page, go to visitor posts and come and say hello. What are you up to today? Or well, maybe you've gone back to work. It was ever so busy on the roads this morning. Sewing machine mat. How long have we got? 20 minutes. It'll be a quick one then. Oh, which one of these fabrics should I go for? Kind of like the wintry ones. I'm going to go Rainbow's Light. This is going to be really quick, and it's something that you can embellish on and make bigger or smaller as you wish. I'm going to make quite a sizable mat, so that is my half metre. You could use 2 fat quarters for this instead. Maybe use half of your half metre and a plain fabric on the back. Might make your fabric go a bit further. So I'm just going to trim this off to get rid of the selvage. Again, using the mat that we've got on the show. So at the moment, I'm not using the measurements on the ruler, I use the measurements on the mat. Always when you're, if you're folding fabric, don't use the selvage edge as the guide to what's straight, and don't use the cut edge, use the folded edge. So always line the fold up against one of the lines down here. So this will probably not be straight, that will probably not be straight, and sometimes these selvages aren't perfectly straight. So let's trim off the edge there. Then we're going to trim this down to size a little bit. So I'm just going to cut off the very edge because that's the edge where the manufacturers have cut it. May not always be perfectly straight, particularly if they use scissors to do that. And let's work out what size we need. So I'm going to say we'll have 12 inches. So I'm going to chop that all the way across at 12 inches. By 18. Let me just check with my sewing machine because I'm going to make it for this one. 18 inches is perfect. You could make it a little bit longer if you wish and have it hanging over the side with pockets on the side. There is one of those in my Sewing Room Secrets book, which you'll find on the website. I've made it before in one of the shows actually. There's a sewing machine mat that goes over the end of your table. I don't really get the sewing machine mats with pockets at the front because they look really nice, but when you sit down and you're sewing, I don't want all my scissors and everything here. It makes more sense to me to have them hanging over the edge. Maybe just me. There's a lot of those mats that hang over the front. Let me know if they get in the way. I'm just trimming off the tiniest amount there so that I've got two pieces. And then we'll iron on the H640 onto the back. Oh, been really popular again, the H640. We had hundreds of you in the previous show ordering this one. Right, so knobbly side up, because that's the gluey bit. Fabric wrong side down, so you've got your printed side facing here. I'm lining this up as close to the edge as I can, just so I'm not wasting any of the H640. And then we will need a hot iron with steam. So start in the centre and just gently move out. Don't press on hard when you're doing this because we don't want to distort the shape of the fabric. And I'm going to iron almost up to the edge, so I'm not getting the glue on the bottom of my iron. And you can see even with a hot iron and steam, there are no wrinkles. This is perfectly flat. So that's enough to hold it in place. Let's trim it down and then we can iron right up to the side. So, and down here. And because it's polyester, if you do use it on your rotary cutter, with your rotary cutter on your mat, it doesn't stick into the board. Now I would, if I was doing this, maybe put a plain strip down there with a bit of a plique on it. My daughter's made one actually, put it on her YouTube channel, so I'm going to give her a plug. It's Kimberly Hind. She's done like a crazy patchwork stitch and flip kind of affair, which looks really nice. Or what would be good on this would be a contrast piece of bias binding. But we haven't got time for that. Or have we got time for that? I would love my daughter to come on Sewing Street and give you some maybe dressmaking patterns and show. She's been drafting her own patterns. I don't know where she gets it from. I have some lovely bias binding. Oh, bear with me, I'll tell you. I wonder whether we should do that. Oh, that goes nicely, doesn't it? Let's do that. I was going to bag it out, but I think we've got time to actually put some bias binding. Oh, right, be really, really quick. So, okay, so your fusible fleece is fusible on the one side, but not on the other. So because I'm using bias binding, and I'm talking really quickly now, so sorry about that. I'm going to stick these together. So I'm using my 505 spray in a with a well-ventilated room and nowhere near my sewing machine. So that sticks on there like that. Now, it doesn't matter which side of this I'm putting the bias binding because I've got kind of the right fabric on each side. If I'd got a plain fabric on the bottom, because I'm going to machine sew this on from both sides, I would sew from the back side, wrap it over to the front side, and then machine sew again from there. Let's see how far we get. So I'll just sew it down in the cellar again. Bear with me. I unplugged everything to put it in the sewing machine bag earlier on. Literally everything. Oh, that's foot pedal. Oh gosh, this was a little bit ad hoc, like all my demonstrations tend to be. Okay, so I'm going to fold over the end to start with, and that goes under there. And to start in the middle at the back, line up the edges of the bias binding with the edge, foot pedal, of the fabric. And so, and we're going to miter the corners as well. So sewing straight down the crease, I'm going to stop just before I get to the corner by the width of the crease, go backwards a couple of times, cut, take it out, and then, so I've stopped before the end of the fabric here, and then bend this around so that the edges of the fabric are still lined up and you have a triangle in the centre there. And then start sewing right from the edge again, and we'll go all the way around. Hey, this is speedy sewing. And then the same in the next corner and the same in the next corner. And then I'm going to leave the mat here because the only sewing machine mat that we have is the non-slip one. And we love the non-slip one. But when you're moving a machine around all the time when you're demonstrating, it's not so easy to move it on a non-slip mat. So around the corner, fold that up, squish that down, and down we go. Need to do that on all four corners. I'd normally be using the same colour thread as my bias binding. White's going to be fine for now. If you're not sure which colour thread to use, on your fabric, if you've got a multicoloured fabric and you want your thread to be as invisible as possible, then use either a pale grey or a beige colour. Neutral colours tend to disappear. White can actually stand out. Right, snip you off, take you out. Miter the corner. I feel like I'm racing. Oh, did you hear my stomach now? I hope you didn't. It's grumbling away down there. Line up edges. Away we go. Now, Kimberly, my daughter, she's been staying with us for the last few weeks. Well, the last 2 months to be exact. And she has become a dressmaker in 2 months. Self-taught, I have to say. So it's her ambition to do an outfit. Well, she wants a completely handmade wardrobe. And she's been making clothes up at the rate of 1 outfit a day. So I got back home yesterday from being here and she'd made a really lovely little pair of pyjamas with shorts and a top in jersey fabric with a rolled hem on the overlocker. I don't know what she's making today. Lovely to see though. After all these years, she'll be 30 this year. That's how long it's taken her. Really proud of her. Okay, that's around there. So again, that would be from the back of my mat. And then I'm going to wrap this over and sew from the top. And the reason I sew from the top is because I know I'm going to get a straight line because I can see it. You can't always guarantee if you sew from the back that the stitches on the other side are going to be perfect. So let's literally just sew around the edge, folding this over as I go. When I come to the mitered corner, where I fold here, you get a lovely little miter, but it just kind of falls into place. You go there, you go there. So I've got a little, can you see that there? Look at that corner, it's perfect. Love a mitered corner. But then when you flip it over, I'll tell you what I could do with. a stiletto, so I can really hold this in place when I come to that corner, fold over the mitre and hold it down, get in there so you're perfect. There you go. Then I can hold that right up to the stitch line and then carry on. So I'm not worried about my fingers getting too close to the needle. I think we might finish something. But you can see how quick something like this is to make. So if you are teaching someone how to sew, or if you want a quick project, or if you need a sewing machine mat, you know, they don't have to be anything very fancy because the machine's going to be on top of it at the end of the day anyway. So just a couple of pieces of fabric and your H640 in the middle. You can quilt through it as well. It does have a certain depth to it. So on this fabric particularly, I could kind of go over the lines so it'd look like I've actually pieced it together, which would look quite nice. Right, 2 more corners to go and then we're there. Now anything that you've seen in the show that you'd like to order, you can order on the website, which is sewingstreet.com, or you can go to the phone lines. We've got a UK-based call centre. They're very nice people. So if you wanted to give us a call, it's 0800 001 4433. If you've got any questions or anything, you can come through to the call centre and ask them. Why not take a look at our Facebook page and the Sewing Street Fans Facebook group as well. So if you like to be amongst like-minded people who enjoy sewing just as much as you would do, then join the fans page. I'm coming up to the join there, so I just want to make sure that they meet as I'm going. So I could have used my wonder clips here. Keep going. Almost there, we've almost finished it. Just going to poke out the next mitered corner. These are available on the website as well. That's a clover stiletto. There we go, down there. Yes, yes, I finished something. The machine's on the website as well. That is the Elna 560 doing a jolly good job today. Oh, in fact, it's a lightweight machine. Now I can move it around. So a really quick 10-minute project for you there. Just using 1/2 metre of fabric, but I've still got that left over so I can make a matching pin cushion as well. But as I said previously, if I was making that for myself at home, I'd use a plain one on the back. So I'm not, because you won't see that anyway. Oh, I missed a bit. No, I didn't miss a bit, lovely. H640 in the centre, which is a Miscellaneous fusible fleece. So that gives it a nice bit of padding and helps to cut down on the noise from a sewing machine as well. And I've got really neat mitered corners. I did use my own bias binding. You could make some, maybe go for one of the plainer colours that are in here and make your own bias binding if you wish as well. Oh, fusible fleece, Miscellaneous, £9.99 for a square metre. And as you've seen today, it does go an awful long way. Oh, right, we still haven't finished yet. We've still got more to show. I've had so much in these shows. Right, these are bright strips fabric. There are 16 2.5-inch strips of fabric in each one of these, and they are 55 inches wide, so 4 times what you see here, basically. So really nice ditzy little prints on all of them. So you can cut these out as individual strips and use them in the same manner as you would do a jelly roll or traditional fabric strips. Or you can use this as a whole sheet of fabric. You've basically got rainbow striped fabric. It's £19.99, 140 by 110 centimetres altogether. Again, have a look on the website for more details. Then we've got the pastel tones. Another 16 strips in candy colours, again for £19.99. So we've got lilacs and lavenders. We've got pale blues and lemons and yellows. They're all different as well. Longer than you'd expect for an average jelly roll piece. Those would be 44 inches wide. So you've got an extra 10 inches on the length there as well. Let's take a look at squares. So these are 5-inch squares, the same kind of squares you'd find in a charm pack. But you don't have to cut them all out. I have used these before and used the white section as pin tucking. So crease along the white and sew along it, and it gives a really nice textural border as well. Or you can sew these the other way round. So leave them as they are if you're happy with the configuration, and make a seam across the white bit. So you're going to have perfect points, and they will be matched up exactly because they're sewn together like that. If you do want to chop them up, look what you get. So all of those. So a whole bundle. That's a 44, if I remember rightly, in total. 40 in total. 45-inch squares. So just like we were doing yesterday, you could make your 1/4 and 1/2 square triangles with those. Use them in patchwork, so you can chop them all up, or you can use them all together. The choice is yours. Just £14.99. Look at all those colours. We also have spotty rainbow strips. So you're getting 8 of those this time. Again, the 54 inches wide. So we've got red, yellow, pink, green, orange, purple and blue. You do have all the colours of the rainbow, with a random gold one on top of that as well. £12.99 for that one. And again, you don't have to cut them into strips. If you do, you have 2.5-inch strips. But if you don't, you've just got some really lovely rainbow striped, perfect piece. Good job, I'm only 2 days a week now, isn't it? We've had some really nice pictures on the fans page as well, all of your rainbow projects. This is a similar idea. We've got the same colours, but this has a linear print. So it's almost like a linen weave, but it isn't. That fabric print is actually printed onto the fabric, which I think is quite clever. That again is £12.99. We've got 8 of the strips there in total. Then we have more rainbow colours. 16 of these again. So all of those, and then all of those as well. So we've got the blues and the greens. I'll open that up. I shan't open it all the way because it's twice the width. You get twice the size of that, basically. So you have from the reds like a tequila sunrise all the way through to the greens. And there's the blues. I'm doing a self-panning exercises to one that's a little bit lavendery at the bottom. And we've got a special price on this one, just £14.99, so you're making a saving. I think it's £5 saving, isn't it, on that one? That's really good. Have a look on the website for more details. Well, we've got a couple of minutes left, so I could probably make something to match to, you know, a pin cushion or complete outfit or something. 2 minutes is plenty of time. Oh, Pam's message. Oh, and Norma as well. Oh, and Angie. Oh, lovely. Norma says, finding Sewing Street very repetitive at the moment. Oh, really? I know we're in lockdown, but other craft channels are showing lots of different things with guest presenters demonstrating from their own sewing studio. Can Sewing Street look at doing something other than Debbie and John presenting the same things over and over? I'm sorry about that. We try and bring you something new most days, actually. We've had new fabrics today. We've had some new tools as well. So apologies if we're a bit repetitive, but there again, if the other channels are showing something that's really interesting, go watch them. Hi, Debbie, says Pam. Hi, Pam. I've made a mat with pockets at the front and find it's very useful like that. I'm always putting tools down and having to search for them. Now I don't. That's brilliant. I just find it a bit odd having tools here. I'd rather have them at the sides. But if you like pockets at the front, you put pockets at the front. Entirely up to you. Well, it's been lovely having your company over the last 3 hours. I shall be with you again next Sunday and Monday. Tomorrow, what have we got coming up tomorrow? Is it Vicky tomorrow? We've got sewing machines for you tomorrow. The 780 is going to be here. That's a fabulous sewing machine. The 680 is going to be with you as well. And we've got some more fabulous fabrics for you. And gifts and tools coming up tomorrow as well. So again, have a look on the website now if you haven't seen the fabrics, or you weren't here earlier on when we went through all of the fabrics that we have for you here. This is all Lewis and Irene at really ridiculously low prices for what we have for you here. But it's sewingstreet.com, and have a look at everything that we have left for you. I would suggest that you stock up on your Miscellaneous H640 and you stock up on your HT2 glues, and of course on your 505 and 404 adhesives, because they tend to be things that we sell out of really, really quickly, and we can't always get things back in time. So again, stay safe. Look after yourself. I'll be doing the next sewing surgery in the first week in June. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, then do put those onto the Sewing Street Facebook page, and we'll answer those in a month's time. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.